Y'all, come to life here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman infidels. Get ready for the impact attack as I see the red lights lit, and we're going to have all the shit to talk here today at hackerhamin.podbean.com, and it goes 1, 2, 3 until the 4. Dr. Ted and MSG are at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, because you know we're about to rip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Saudi and Hamin together, man, you know you're in trouble, infidels, and you're in trouble today, because we're going to shoot, bang, bang, and break it all down here on your Impact Attack. YOLO! Hey, yo! All right, good morning to you.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Two gangsters and infidel on a Swayze. Let's go.
Hat day. Throw your lids on. We're doing it up real big, covering it up. Just having some fun here with my homies as we break down an awesome show, man. The best show in wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. Multiple weeks back to back. I have a lot of good things to say about this show today, man, and I'm excited to be able to talk positive after getting my dick kicked in by Raw and SmackDown every week, only to be followed up with some usual AEW nonsense, but positivity, but nothing that makes me want to go, I can't wait to tune in next week. This shit had me laughing out loud, dude. I was fucking jealous that I didn't get to produce some of these segments because some of the scene work was so brilliant that it made me just sit back in awe compared to everything else I've sat through the last decade. And I was just like, I had a feeling of like, there really is a possibility of doing something incredible. And they did more than scratch the surface of it. They hit a good solid single this week and put themselves in a way different position with really making something that will last through the annals of time in wrestling. It was multiple segments of very, very high level character driven performance that I was very proud to watch, man. It was I didn't feel like I wasted any of my time. And I feel like that every fucking week when I have to sit through these other brutal shows. But I'm excited to talk about it with these guys. It's Dr. Ted McNailer, the legend of the South himself, but usually he goes by that. But today he's looking for that title shot. He thinks he can take the belt home. And I've seen him in some hard-hitting matches. Teddy Tedwards might just be the guy to do it.
That's right. You know, each and every week I present the greatest ideas to Impact Wrestling and Scott D'Amore, so that way I can make my way onto the Impact roster. They have yet to accept any of my ideas, but this week I have it. You don't know this, but Eddie Edwards has an evil twin, Teddy Tedwards. And as you can see, I already have my own championship. I can defend it against anybody. Eddie Edwards, he wants to go from being cuckoo to competent, but I'm going to go from being lucid to loony. And he might have a wooden kendo stick, but I got a wooden spoon, and I'm going to shove it straight up your ass because I'm Teddy Tedwards. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Wow.
Book this guy.
Yeah, that's it right
this
there.
This is my champ right here.
He doesn't take bumps. He's never taken a bump in his life.
That's fine.
I do the opposite. Eddie Edwards wants to take bumps. I get up.
That's it.
After everything.
I start down and get up after everything.
That's right.
Oh, man. Teddy Tedwards. Well, welcome to the show, Teddy. And, I'll do everything I can to make sure I don't get whipped with a wooden spoon like Mrs. Kevel used to do when we got babysat.
Everybody gets the same amount. I don't care if you're a main eventer or a jobber. I will go 50-50 with anybody.
Okay. That's it, man. In fact, with me, I'll even give you 60-40 just so you look strong.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I respect that much. Look at you. You got a belt.
Belt.
That's it. That's all they need. I mean, look at him. He's a champ already.
He's ready to defend it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, he needs 2 belts.
Every week.
Then he's going after Sasha Banks after that. He gets this other belt.
He'll dye his hair after that, though. So.
Oh,
Teddy 2-belt Edwards.
Triple T.
That's right.
Good morning, MSG. I don't know why you're wearing one of Jargo's unfolded hats to look like a 12-year-old masquerading on a playground so you can get close to children, but you should put a fold in that son of a bitch like a real man does and join the new era of
Do you want me to go put on my folded hats? I have folded hats. I just like.
There shouldn't be any straight brim hats at all. That's a pedophile trick to get close to kids looking like a little kid.
I was just trying to go with the Fresh Prince, theme. We're talking about Bel Air, West Philadelphia. I'm not born and raised.
Yeah, how did that work out for his kid?
Well, I don't know. I guess he seems to be doing okay, right?
I'm sure he wants.
I don't know.
Swings with you with your straight brim hat on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Impact Attack. I am not a Mets fan, Matt, which I was not very happy with Mr. Brian Myers' his debut.
Yeah, dude, that was the only part of the show where I was like, really like, ooh. Well, there was one other, but like, I was like, oh man, I couldn't believe that they did that. Hawkins can't make himself because I know he's a friggin' unbelievable worker. He's the guy who helped The Rock with his comeback to the ring and like trained with him for 3 months. Like he can hang with the best in the history of the business. And he couldn't make himself in this main event beast. I was fucking shocked, bro, at what I was seeing.
Yeah, to be fair, yes, you are correct. I guess from a performance standpoint, there's some areas where he might have changed some stuff, but I thought the booking in of itself, I mean, I did not see how this had the opportunity to do good business for both guys or either guy. So Eddie Edwards has to go 50-50 with someone who on national television has otherwise not been seen as a main event star. And then the guy that you're bringing in for his first match to Impact, you're not allowing him to shine and really get over and taking a loss right out the gate. And so I just didn't see how the main event, as hard as they could have worked and they could have had the greatest match in the world, I don't see how this was going to do good business no matter what they did, honestly.
Question from the chat room. They were wondering, Teddy Tedwards, are you going to feud or tag with your tag team partner, longtime tag team partner, Gravy Bitchards, and be the American Sheepdogs to go again? Well,
I was wanting to just hit him in the face with my wooden spoon, but I love the name, the American Sheepdog. So if you're down, then let's pull up the leashes, let's put on the collars, and the American Sheepdogs are going to tear it down.
Do you think Fallah Bah would be upset if you ended up stealing the bah as like your chant?
Well, he would be our mascot. We would actually dress up Fallah Bah in a full sheep costume, and he would follow us to the ring because how would that not get over is my question, really.
That's that hair versus shears match, and you got to shear it, follow or give up your own hair. That's how it's going down. I like that. American Sheepdogs. It'll be hot. It's going to be a hot angle at Impact. I'm excited for all these new characters that are going to show up there.
Next week. Just wait.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man. Well, hey, guys, we appreciate you stopping by here. Of course, as been mentioned, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. You can also bring your behind back tonight for the episode of The Conspiracy Horseman. Stooge Report says you have a guest host on tonight.
Yeah, we got the Kingpin himself, Angel from the Baldies, ECW legend, going to be on, a host of Wrestling with Tragedies. That's a Russo Brand Network show as well. So we're trying to help shine our brothers. They've been asking me for a lot of advice how to expand. They've applied it all. And now we're in the next phase of, let's introduce them, make sure our audience knows that they're out there putting out awesome shows. I know they did one just recently with looking at Luger and Elizabeth. And, they looked into the Benoit stuff. Sonny's kind of fall. They were right on it with the Marty Jannetty stuff, which still is kind of unanswered. We're going to talk about that tonight on the Conspiracy Horseman here at twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. There's plenty to go through. The Billy Jack Haynes, Bill Clinton stuff, anything that's been on Dark Side of the Ring. These guys are doing that and more. And two of them, Angel and our other co-host, are law enforcement experts or work security and detective work and bondsman work. So they look at it with a very, very crime drama look to the whole thing, man. So it'll be cool to have him on the Conspiracy Horseman tonight. And then his co-host, Pierce Austin, is going to join the Next Level podcast. Very dude who's in tune with the wrestling world. Absolutely. So we're excited. Go follow Wrestling with Tragedy on the Russo Brand Network, and they've got all their stuff on as well. So if you're looking for true crime combined with the wrestling that you like, they've got an awesome niche, man. So we're pumped to have them on tonight.
Nice. Well, also, of course, you guys can check out the Next Level podcast. That's going to be on tomorrow with Mr. Ted the Man Beast here. And I believe you're bringing on some 5-0. So, Colin, hide your weed.
Yeah.
What the? No, yes, we'll have the Next Level Wrestling podcast. We'll be reviewing NXT, and we will have a special guest with us all the way from the land down under, Piers Austin from the Wrestling with Tragedy podcast. We're going to have him on there to not only go over the show, but of course also talk about some of the great stuff that they're doing over there. And I'm just really excited for it. And of course, every week we got the homework. We will reassign more homework. But this week's homework for anyone that does want to participate is we are booking the angle between Breezango and Legado del Fantasma. And I want to know over the next few weeks between now and TakeOver what happens, what babyface joins Breezango, and what happens at TakeOver 30. And I'm excited to do a deep dive into that, explore everyone's ideas. We've already gotten some good submissions for it, and we're going to talk it all tomorrow on the Next Level Wrestling Review.
Teddy, where can they send those angry homework emails?
Oh, yes. That would probably be helpful to have the homework. So you can send that to Next Level Wrestling Review at gmail.com.
Say it as angry as Teddy Tedwards would want to say.
I want your motherfucking emails to Next Level Wrestling Review at gmail.com or go fuck yourself.
This is the Hustler at Rogers. Yeah, it's fucking me.
I was on my inner rip there.
That's it.
I also wanted to put this over because your co-host wanted me to put this over. If you don't want to do that email, Colin has done a great job of setting up the whole Discord. In fact, I made sure to check the Discord today and try to be as active as I could. And, I was able to find a couple different comments for the Impact show tonight as far as feedback as well.
Great.
So if you'd like to... So if you'd like to leave your feedback there's Colin set up a Next Level Review channel. So there's a whole thread in there. If you want to leave feedback for the show.
Behind my back,
yeah.
I'm going to have a word with Colin. He's overstepping. He's getting an ego now, guys. His head's getting big. He's trying to make moves, and we got to stop that. All of a sudden, I'm making my teacher's aide, and now look, he's that ego.
Yeah, and the way that he's also got it set up, though, he's got a bot set up. So when you go live on Twitch, it actually will put it in the Discord, so it already shows that we're live right now. So I thought that was pretty neat too. Yeah,
killing it, man. Look at these producers. The things I would have to spend hours on learning to do, and I can trust these Hamin media sergeants, captains, lieutenants to go and go out, do some spy work, pioneer work, espionage, set some traps, get everything set up, and it's all running like clockwork in this network. So wherever you're finding this Discord, I'm excited to do something now on Discord. That's going to be our super secret underground meeting place. So if you're not on there, you might be left out of the loop on some things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how I found out about your guest tonight. The Stooge report came from the Conspiracy Horseman thread already set up. People are already in there talking. So.
People already stooging things off.
Already stooging strong in there.
I was on the chat room, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. Every Wednesday for the Impact Attack, I have to forego the bow tie just so I can try to pitch these characters, these great characters, the Impact Wrestling. But don't worry, Next Level Wrestling Review, I will have the bow tie back on just for you, JVD.
Teddy Tedwards would never wear a bow tie. Let's just start there.
No.
God damn bow ties. He's against it. If there's one thing Teddy Tedwards hates more than anything, it's a fucking bow tie.
It's a fucking bow tie. All right. Well, before we get into today's topics, guys, I wanted your opinion on something which I thought was interesting. I mean, I know we don't really talk about too much politics on any of our shows, but that we did just have Kamala Harris, nominated as the VP, and I thought it was interesting because you've got a guy who put down a crime bill or put a bill forth in 1995 and was the guy who was basically behind this bill. And then you got a female out in California who enforced it when we're in a time where people are trying to defund the police. It just seems very counterproductive for the Democratic Party itself to elect two officials out there when the message itself from the people is to anti-police establishment. Do you guys have any thoughts or want to give any feedback on that? I mean, I kind of know where Ben's going to go, so let me start with Tedwards or Dr. Ted.
Well, here's my thoughts: is I'm not a fan of anybody on either side, Republican or Democrat, that's running for president.
It's fair.
I'm not for either one. That being said, I was thinking about this, and I feel like the rationale, at least from the Democrats, because my first thought was, well, they don't obviously give a shit about the people that are truly liberal or on the left. And I myself am a moderate, I would say. I tend to have a little bit of both certain things. But anyway, so my thinking on this was clearly a move. It wasn't a move to try to get more of the liberal left. It was really more a move to try to get more votes away from Trump and the people that are on the fence and in between them. And so will it work? I don't know. I think regardless, the next 4 years, we're going to be screwed regardless. So to me, it's like, I don't really care about this election personally, because to me, it's like it's all going to be the same shit over the next 4 years, no matter what. But that's just my opinion.
See, and I kind of feel the same way too. Like I'm more probably independent, where I just kind of try to look at both things and I go, well, that person, what their issue is more reflective of my values, and what that person's issues is more reflective of my values. It's never really, I'm like looking at an individual and I'm like, yes, they're going to be my hero. You know what I mean? Ben Hamin, why don't you just go ahead and slay the both party agenda?
Well, look at you being so cute, trying to set up. They did this and they did that. These motherfuckers will change on a dime if it's going to keep their fucking asses in office. They don't got any backbone, morals, love for you, the police department. They'll fucking sign some big thing for a police state, go up and make a speech that's anti-fucking police, and then keep you in your fucking house under house arrest and threaten to shoot you if you fucking talk about COVID on social media. So don't apply any of that fucking bullshit mainstream. Well, they're on this side and they're on that side. That's for the whole mind fuck of the Nancy Browns. We don't play that shit here at Hamin Media Group, man. It's all a fucking sting operation every time. This guy, Twitter Thumbs, is a fucking crazy whatever megalomaniac, and it was the poison to put in the Kool-Aid to get rid of the fucking Clinton Illuminati. Make no mistake about it. That was the only thing. Nobody had the fucking hopes and dreams of the world on. You fired, douchebag shit, bro. We just wanted this fucking psycho cunt out of there as fast as we could fucking have it done. Now you're going to bring back fucking Obama nostalgia, thinking that that's going to get over with him, even though there's hundreds of clips of him fucking molesting little girls pretty much in the White House on camera. But all the liberals are going to fucking downplay that while he's got dementia and falling apart at the seams. Right. And you're going to put the Ugandan giant in there with him just to try and fucking get some female minority vote, dude, thinking that shit's going to get over. This is from the people who brought you the fucking, they hit home runs with all these. Pissgate, fucking Stormy Daniels, tax evasion, impeachment, grab her by the pussy. Like they're 0 for 5 right there. Now they're going to make this work. They're going to take the fucking big one, and just out of nowhere, it's going to fucking come together for them. And this was the strategy we were waiting for the whole time. They are stuck on stupid with their heads and fingers up their asses and twats. And then, dude, to believe in any of them, the reality is these people want to put them up there. Like we have to vote for them. Where are the people, instead of saying, oh, I don't know, no offense, Beast, I don't like either of them, then say, fuck that. None of them get to be on here. Here's who we're fucking going. And I'm going from this guy who's a businessman, and I'm taking this woman who is the head of medicine someplace, who has a way to incorporate Canadian socialized medicine to America. This is what we're focusing on. Fuck the military industrial complex, the Rothschild banking system, the fucking global UN shit that you belong to in this one world order that is trying to be pushed as you devalue money and sell us out to Visa as our way of our debt economy. All that other bullshit, a defund that she said this, but in 2020, but then she said she's a racist. Well, she farted on the plane one time and he fucking touched himself in front of her granddaughter. What the fuck? Get rid of them all. Just fucking hit the stop button. Go Thomas Jefferson on these motherfuckers. Refresh the fucking tree of democracy with the blood of fucking tyrants, and let's fucking get rid of them all. Anything else is an exercise in insanity. I've watched my Chicago and LA friends who were these fucking super liberal progressives who towed that line just because they wanted to get jobs in acting because their friends and peers were. So they thought, well, if I fucking scream loud and do all this shit, well, then I'm going to fucking get over too. And then they got their fucking tits slapped 5, 6, 7 times in public. And then they have their tail tucked in their legs. Yesterday they come out, where's the merch? I'll buy her merch. We got this now and shit. Like, how fucking naive and much of a mark can you be for this fucking system? Instead of just saying, fuck this system and these people. They would grab a way bigger piece of the pie in power for themselves. They could overthrow Hollywood and actually get their own shows. But now they're sitting in 1-bedroom apartments with their family with no fucking savings, screaming out the window how happy they are about everything, knowing they can't move anywhere, that they're trapped in LA, trapped in Chicago. They burn down their own theaters with their fucking Black Lives Matter actor fucking demands instead of coming up with a creative solution for everyone. They have no place to perform. They have no income. They have no outlet. And now BLM protesters are smashing their city, so they have to raise the bridges. But yay, we did it. We got exactly what we wanted by fucking screaming. Now we can't go outside as white comedians because we're afraid of being white on the street in a fucking city. And we made it this way. And oh, aren't we so happy about ourselves? I've watched all this fucking fall down for the last 2 or 3 years. And this is just an exercise in masturbation before the next jump up happens, before September 9th, when Hillary Clinton goes on fucking trial for 33,000 emails and John Podesta with fucking pedophile code in there and all this other shit, her praying to Moloch and all that stuff. So something big 9/11 event is going to happen before any of this Kamala Harris and where they get to vote and write some shit on a piece of paper to make themselves feel good. It's all an exercise in fucking a mirage, bro.
Boom! You don't need caffeine or coffee because Ben Hamin just woke your ass up here this morning.
Up to this fucking bullshit and stop playing into the fucking game, dude. Just stop their machine. Go look at Nancy Pelosi, up to date this week of her talking, her Biden talking. These are the fucking, dude, this is when you put these people in a fucking home and feed them fucking tapioca pudding and you bring in fucking the local choir to do Rodgers and Hammerstein fucking tunes for them so they can
pants.
Like, these are the motherfuckers you want running the world in a technological fucking insanity future right now. Some 80-year-olds who are out of touch, who've been in fucking power forever and will not relinquish. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Let's not forget their advice on fucking lawn care, let alone fucking running the world.
And I'd say from a medical standpoint, let's not forget that dementia is a progressive disease. It does not improve or get better. So and that's the part that also scares me. And not that they're always in politics as a people pulling the strings behind the scenes, but I think this takes it to a whole nother level when you have a potential president that is just going to continue to lose cognition over the next 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the setup. I mean, don't you think that's the setup? Like they're putting Kamala with them.
They're getting wet up. Dogs of war got a shit. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so like, I think it's just the setup itself. They put Kamala with Biden, or they were going to put somebody with Biden himself. That way they can potentially bring her in if something does happen to Biden, and or they've already, I think it's been publicly known that Biden doesn't want to run for 2 terms. So this is really about the Democrats just trying to take back power and then putting what they feel is their only quote unquote options, their best options. But I think we all see kind of through that and we're like, these aren't the best options. So like,
nobody. It's like, yeah, you're screwing us over no matter what. And it's like, I agree. I think some big movement does need to happen. And I don't know if it's necessarily, I know Ben went off about how like everybody needs to get together and mobilize, but I think honestly, if Donald Trump has showed us anything, it's going to take someone with a lot of money and influence to really make true change happen. Now, is there a billionaire out there that's altruistic and willing and wanting to make the move? I don't know. I can't say I can't think of any off the top of my head that I have a lot of trust or confidence in that could do that. But I think it would take someone and they would have to run that's the crazy part too, is I don't even think they could do it as an independent if they wanted to, because of just how fucked the whole system is. They would literally have to infiltrate the Republicans or the Democrats. And then when they finally get the nomination, say, all right, you motherfuckers, I'm not actually a Republican or a Democrat. I'm here to change the fucking system. You know what I mean? But I don't foresee that happening though, unfortunately. I think that's,
I agree. I think this is just about like the Democrats already have the majority of the House and they need to get somebody on their team to try and take back, so that way they can continue to push what they feel is their overall initiatives and what they feel is best
really,
for them.
It's satisfying the lobbyists that are filling their pockets is really what it is. So
that's what I was going to get. That's what I was going to backtrack.
Are those lobbyists getting paid, or are those lobbyists getting paid? Because really, that's what politics in this country is now. Who gets paid?
Yep, who gets paid, guys? Well, you know who's getting paid? This actually good segue. Kimberly has officially signed with Impact Wrestling, Mr. Ted. It's being reported here, I believe, and it was announced tonight by Josh Matthews, but I got it from ProWrestling.com, and that is Impact Wrestling has officially confirmed that Kimberly is signed with the company, and she's going to continue to develop their women's division. She made her debut back on the 12th. Excuse me, I couldn't even hit the mute button fast enough. That has been showcased by the fact that she is now officially signed with the company on a long-term deal, and as first reported by the Hype magazine. That's what it was. So she signed a long-term contract with Impact Wrestling. So good for her. Impact looking to continue to bring in more talent, new and upcoming stars. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think certainly having more seasoned and experienced wrestlers on the roster is definitely a good thing. Kimberly's been around a minute. It always comes down to that. I think it might take a little while for her to start to get more of the understanding of TV style, just because it is a whole different monster compared to live event wrestling. But again, she's been around for a while, and I think as she continues to hopefully adapt to the TV style and start getting more into the character of Kimberly, because I'd say as a character, don't quite have a grasp on who is Kimberly, what her intentions, why is she doing the things that she's doing. And I think hopefully as she starts to get to know herself, we'll see more out of her as a character and more out of her as a star on the Impact roster.
Well, hopefully she, instead of making $100 a night, now she's making $200 to $300. As a contracted talent, that would at least probably be better for her financially, especially with not a lot of indies going on right now, right?
Right,
so
exactly. There's not much else going on otherwise.
Hopefully they're paying some people to try and survive. I don't know how you would survive, man, on $300 a week right now if that's all you did. Like if that was your only, strictly your only option, like you weren't doing side jobs or anything like that, it would be very difficult. But that's what some of 30 million Americans are in right now based on this shutdown too. So that's
and that's
a very strange time.
She's utilizing her brand to, whether it's, selling, Patreon stuff or, merchandise or seminars, like online webinars, maybe, and that's where really all the wrestlers, especially right now, need to be taking more advantage of it. And unfortunately, I'd say a lot of people, a lot of stars aren't taking as much opportunity as they could right now and trying to, get their name out there as well as continue to stay relevant and be able to pay their family or be able to provide for their family right now.
Can't agree more. Mr. We were just talking about Kimberly's officially signing with Impact. That's all.
Congratulations to her, man. And I think her body is getting in better shape. I mean, she's working hard since the last set of tapings from what I saw. I'm not a big fan of the Tinkerbell knockoff gear. I think there's a cooler look for her. We just need to find it. And she looks indie, kind of. You know what I mean? On the indies, she'd look awesome in that gear. On TV, it's just not hitting for me. It's taken away from who she is. It doesn't enhance her, in my opinion. But, that's what she was playing and doing in Shimmer Shine and stuff. So I get it. And that's what she's got. And not a lot of people got money to get new gear made every fucking week. You know what I mean? But I think there could be a redesign there and a repackage now that she's signed. I like the name. I think it's very catchy, but the look doesn't back it up for some reason to me. They did a good job in this match, I thought, where I expected it to be even more indie-rific. It wasn't, and they worked their asses off, and I like the finish on this. Jordan Grace, I mean, here's what I like too. Politics and shit aside, I like me a woman who looks like a woman, like not like no knock on AJ Lee and whatnot, but those skinny little wafy girls, like them beating anybody doesn't look believable to me. And B, like, that's just not my type. I like, that, the look of Marilyn Monroe, which is, Taya Valkyrie, really, like, that's the real shit, not some standard that you can't stand up to. So the fact that even if Jordan Gracer is, short and whatever, she's still getting him out and showing some sex appeal, but at the same time, she's wrestling her fucking ass off, dude. And like, it's believable the stuff that they're throwing on each other. This was a pretty good, hard-hitting match. There was a couple psychology things, but what I liked is, boom, she goes up for the fucking finish off the top, knees up, which wasn't the best knees up to really cut her off, but he didn't need to be. He just got to stun her for a second, hooks the Kanda Hajime from behind, and that's it. We go right to the finish right there. That's a believable wrestling tap-out finish. Move on something, the dude's hurt, and then you come up, walk, take the finish. There, they just did it with knees up and snatched the hold on her to give her a get-over match, and nobody got hurt by that because it didn't like make Kimberly look weak. It was like, shit, she tried for her finish, it got stuffed, and then she got caught. There's no shame in that. We see that in UFC all the time, people getting caught in a submission and then having the tap. What are you going to do? Just sit in there and go, no, I don't submit. So, that was, I liked this match. I thought they fucking really worked hard. All politics and personal feelings of the other bull SJW shit aside, I thought they both did a really good job.
Do you think that, you mentioned as far as maybe revamping her look, she's from Seattle, should she be maybe doing some sort of grunge look or some sort of Courtney Love-esque 90s look where, it not only accentuates her physical attributes because she's a very good looking woman, but it could also give her some actual character as a foundation. She doesn't even have to really try and create anything. It's just there.
I really have to sit down and, I'd probably have to go hang out with her for like, go to dinner and like we go fucking do a show and a road trip so I can get where her mind's at and say, what music do you listen to? What shows do you like? Well, like where can we relate and see what she really loves? And then I can pick those themes out that she relates to that are going to be able to make her into the best her possible and amplify those things. Right now, a lot of that's hidden behind wrestling and that gear for some reason. And I'm curious to see what and who Kimberly is, because right now we're not getting much of that. We're just getting good wrestling matches for her to help get the girls they deem more higher tier over. And that's what you want in a wrestling show, in a get over match. I get it. And that's an all right match to work 50-50 because they're the same size and it was believable struggle, a competition in that match. So I would probably have to say I really like to be in a creative meeting. I like to get on the ground floor with somebody like that and build a foundation, because once you have a strong character foundation and she believes it, where she can go after that is immeasurable. So there's a good opportunity there to do something.
Yeah, agreed. Well, before we actually get into the full show of Impact, I had one more note I thought was interesting. WWE is taking their new development talent to empty warehouse to begin training under strict conditions. So this was more of an update on the developmental side. Of course, the Performance Center right now is being used as the main location for the company to film all of their television content. But it was also, I guess, some of the new recruits who had been signed by WWE, new classes were set to begin August 10th. So because of the PC right now, they're working in a warehouse, which is very close by. However, they're only letting 2 wrestlers in to the ring at a time. So only 2 people get to come in, I guess, either in the building or in the ring itself. And then, of course, they're required to wear masks. And all NXT wrestlers, though, including those on television, are required to attend. So it sounds like they're being shuffled out from the PC. And if they're not hanging out at the PC, then maybe they go to the warehouse and they train 2 at a time there.
The whole roster's got to go, even with the trainees, to the fucking warehouse to go wear masks 2 in at a time to do fucking high spot drills. Is that what you're telling me?
WWE's developmental talent, which was used to train the Performance Center at the gym, but hasn't since the pandemic, causing the company to use the location as their TV set, were expected to be in classes on Monday, August 10th. They were scheduled to attend the PC, but rather a warehouse very close by, which the company will set up with wrestling rings. Plan is to test everyone for COVID on Sunday with the hope that results will be back on Monday. Only 2 wrestlers will be allowed in the ring together at any one time, while those not in the ring are required to be wearing masks. All NXT wrestlers, including those on TV, are required to attend. And this is based on eWrestling.com. They're reporting this. Matt Boone.
Making fucking Vladimir Kozlov, Mike Krul, Dolph Ziggler, like going, OVW shut down. You guys are on TV, but you guys got to go train with Rip, and it's mandatory that everybody fucking be there and like come train with us. Like, not like they wouldn't like it and whatnot. I'm not saying it's a punishment, but like Tommaso, Cole, fucking now they got to go train with the guys because it's mandatory right out of fucking whatever college they snatched them out and they're teaching them basic 101 chain and stuff like that, dude. Like, I got to believe that story is nothing but lip service. In my opinion, is they all get tested. Yeah. Once the door closes, maybe it's 2 in the ring, but not everybody's wearing a mask. And then we just have practice and fuck this work. It's what we got to do. And you're here to wrestle. You get paid to wrestle. So get in there and wrestle. Da, 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 da. And everyone's just kind of mailing it in, except for the kids who've really got to learn. Like, that's an insane thing to even put out there, in my opinion, dude.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's what Matt Boone's reporting. So, I mean, he's been pretty reputable in the past.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ted.
I was just saying that is interesting. I'll say at least for some of the roster, if done correctly and practice how they should practice, and kind of how like Rip would always have us work. I can see that for some of the roster that needs it being helpful. But that's where it comes down to: are they just going to be doing a bunch of blow up drills, or are they actually going to come in and learn how to work? With Rip, he would actually have us sit down and say, "Okay, you got 10 minutes. You're going to work an arm for 10 minutes, and you can't repeat the same thing twice." And it's like, okay, you got 10 minutes to only do arm stuff. You cannot switch.
Do you imagine Tommaso has to go back?
But yeah, someone like a Tommaso, it's like, okay, a guy who, years ago, and I know this because I, had hung out with him a couple times, who was literally chain wrestling on his off time. And yet he's going to have to, potentially come back and still continue to do it. So, yeah, people like that, it's like, okay, that's kind of silly.
Because if he doesn't and word gets back, then what?
Then that's probably the last we'll see of Tommaso.
Well, it'll be like, well, we were going to bring up the SmackDown, but he doesn't want to fucking do what we say. So these are the weird.
We brought him up under that retribution mask. We had to send him back down.
Big joke, right? Shout out to the bit cheers this morning, JVD. Absolutely, we'll get that over to Man Beast. But yeah, everybody in here, I know you popped for the old Man Beast picture there while he was talking.
That's what got me. Yeah, that's what got me. Is the Man Beast picture.
This is the Dr. Ted, and Teddy Ted was, but this is the old Man Beast right there. Look at that. That's a grizzly fucking tubby Tommy McNailer. Where's my hot dog, Man Beast? Good looking stuff. Yeah, man. What was we opened with Rich Swann. I don't know, real quick on that, which was a recap of the beating from Eric Young to set things up and Swann's promo. Good production. I thought it played well second time around, and to open the show with what we closed. WWE can't do that. What did we close with on SmackDown?
Retribution
taking fucking chainsaw, cutting up the fucking ring and taking over. What did we open with on Raw?
I have no idea.
I don't watch Raw.
Samoa Joe, Dominic, and Messiah. You think if a fucking anarchist group invades the Performance Center on Friday, the same place they shoot Raw on for Monday, that there might be a little fucking crossover in those 5 days, and you might want to start where you end.
It's different television networks, okay? It's different universes.
Those television networks need to fucking talk. There's not, because the stories are crossing over. You think now they're going to be doing go tell mom, go tell ask dad. Like the dangerous fucking ground, right? But the fact of the storytelling, they can't even get that right, bro. But here's Impact finishing on a high note. Oh my God. Starting with the lamenting empathy to fucking show the viewer in case they missed it last week. It's as simple as that in how to do this shit. And they did it right. So it was good.
So to get started here, yeah, I mean, we can get rocking. As you mentioned, Rich Swann, his retirement announcement package was played. And I have here in my notes as I was starting the show, thinking back, of course, to how last week ended, my whole frustration at that time was why we didn't have any involvement from Willie Mack, whether it was him coming down with Rich Swann or even after the beating. And I was like, where the hell is Willie Mack? And they immediately went into Eric Young and Willie Mack. And I was like, oh, thank you. To me, I got immediately brought in because you didn't challenge my intelligence as the viewer. You gave it to me and you went, yep, here it is. So I thought this was brilliant how it was set up. We go backstage. Eric Young and Willie Mack are brawling around backstage.
Yeah.
Madison and Rain note that they were going to have a match later on that night. Eventually, they battle out to the ring. I like the fact that they gave Willie Mack the mic, and he was short and sweet, and he said, "No, you get your ass back in the ring so I can beat the bricks off you." And that was it. It was done. Like I was like, all right, Willie Mack. So I like the setup for this. It got me excited for Impact Wrestling just right off the bat.
Go ahead, B.
So here's my question. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay.
So because we saw later in the show, Scott D'Amore made a comment to the Good Brothers about you can't go around and just start attacking people. And we ended with, Eric Young, pretty much going off on a limb and injuring someone at their big retirement speech moment. I guess my question is, could that have somehow worked into the story, like with possibly Scott D'Amore, meeting Eric Young at the door saying you're not welcome here, yada, yada. And then that's when you have Willie Mack step aside and say, motherfucker, and start going after him versus Eric Young. Even though he took out someone in our main event retirement speech last week, he's going to be dressed and ready for the first match on Impact the following week. To me, it almost sends, and I guess I'm more asking, does it send a message that at least in Impact Wrestling, that there are not always repercussions for your actions?
I like that.
If I was going to answer that from a viewership standpoint, I think that they kind of do it later on in the night, right? I mean, he kind of Scott D'Amore has that reaction, so maybe they were just trying to let certain events unfold to where D'Amore got to the breaking point of feeling like, what the hell is going on around here? Maybe the Good Brothers, I guess, are more intimidating as a duo comparison to Eric Young, who's like just single-handedly just trying to take down the heavyweight division. I'm not sure. I'm just speculating, of course, throwing out different.
Right. But if you're having to ask those questions, that in and of itself means that there's an issue, because the viewer at home have to be thinking, well, is this happening or is this happening? Unless it's something that they want to throw the fishing rod into the lake and want you to, kind of start biting at a certain idea or story they're trying to present, versus they just haven't told you because they haven't figured it out yet or didn't think about it. You know what I mean? So that's where truly I'm asking, because I feel like, at least from my standpoint, the very first thing I thought is, well, why is Eric Young just scheduled for a match the following week when he ruined the main event angle last week? You know what I mean? I almost felt like they at least should have been addressed.
That's
like,
a good question.
He should be fined.
Let's do it. Show don't tell, because I hear exactly what you're saying. I love it.
Yeah.
So here's the scene we were missing. Then you're going to do the Willie Mack fight start backstage, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
So before that, in just 30 seconds before that, you're by that production office where D'Amore is. You hear him screaming in there, I don't care. He goes, and you hear D'Amore like, you just took out one of my top talents. And D'Amore goes, maybe all your favors are used up, right? Like I get a favor bringing you back in. And now we're at the doorway. We can see him fucking pointing each other in his face. And so that alludes to Team Canada. That alludes to him giving him a job back off of WWE. All your favors are used up. Then EY can go, maybe all your favors are used up, which means I'll fuck you up, bro. Like, if you want to fucking stop being friends, then we'll be enemies. Like that simple line, as he's pushing him out the door and they're yelling at each other. Then Willie Mack comes out of nowhere, fucking blindsides him.
Yeah.
Like, and they're back and forth. D'Amore stand there, come on, get this shit out of there. And there's a ref trying to pull, get him apart. They can't fight into the arena. Even D'Amore's having to follow him. Like they pull him apart to go. The ref's there. D'Amore's like, get him. He's like, come on. And Willie's like, make a match, yelling at D'Amore. Ref in the middle. Let's go. Woof. They let him go right back at it again.
Otherwise, you could do pretty much the exact same thing. But I felt that. Like, to me, that's the emotion of like, then when Scott D'Amore makes the match, it essentially, in theory, the people at home are saying, fuck yeah, let them fight. You know what I mean?
That what they missed was 2 levels of heightening that scene, one before and one in the middle. Yeah. Everything else was there and it still worked. Yeah. Yes. But to stop, dude, after Matt, if somebody fucked up your leg or beast and I'm fucking fighting you for real, I'm not going to go, let's have a match and I'm going to beat the bricks off you. I'm going to fucking beat the fucking bricks off you and I'm going to show everybody that I'm doing it. I don't need to tell you what I'm going to fucking do. Let me fucking, we come to show you love, son. So
I get what you're saying, but in the context, Eric Young was trying to play that heel-like aspect, so he was trying to escape, right? He wasn't necessarily trying to actually fight.
A terrible part of the scene. That was so wrestling bad. And I was like, fuck, why is EY doing this? EY does the classic, dude, this is Memphis 101. I'm going to do it on my time. Bah, turns his back and walks away, walking, turns the corner, still doesn't even look at his peripheral like a complete ignorant heel would, a conniving, slimy heel would never do that. Just so Willie can fucking run up there in a wrestling way and grab him, dude. That was the worst part of this fucking scene. It made it completely wrestling phony instantly. We could have taken that out. We could have taken the promo out and fought from the back where it's like a huge brawl trying to keep, like, Willie's really not trying to wrestle this guy. He's trying to fucking break Eric Young's arm or neck or something and fucking retribution for what he did to his boy. Not a 1, 2, 3. If I win or lose, the ha, fuck you, dude. This is higher level than that. So we have to get it from there. And what B said is perfect of where does Scott D'Amore play into this? Well, it's there and it's in the middle. As we finally get him apart, Willie Mack yelling, give me this motherfucker, Scott. Give me this motherfucker now. And you're bleeping that out. And Scott looks at the ref. He fucking says, get in there. The boys let him go. And then it's just two fucking rams. Boom! Colliding right there. Because what we're doing is build pressure, build pressure. All right, we're letting them go. Pull them apart. Build pressure, build pressure. What are we going to do? Here it is, night. Pow, bro. Like, that's the feeling that was there, but we only got a 10-ton megaton bomb instead of a 2,000-ton, you know?
Right. And I just want to be clear. I agree with you guys. I think this was a great way to start off. And I think the intensity was, you know, for the most part, good. I just, to make sure all the pieces are put together properly. I agree with how you laid that out, Ben. I think just if it was punched up a little bit more, it just would have been that much stronger. And that's not to say it was a bad segment. It's just to say that it could have been a couple things tweaked and just standing segment.
Because what can happen there too is now the stakes is, it's between, there's heat on EY from a bunch of guys, Willie Mack and fucking all night long. What the fuck?
Rich
Swann. And you knew from his history that, you know, Team Canada, him and D'Amore were boys, but we get to see the rift in there. Now there's more heat with somebody with beef on him. You could swerve that and have D'Amore turn heel later on and back EY, but in the way it builds right now, it just builds heat on EY from 3 people. Now who else can he fuck with and fuck over from his past who hate him, who all want to see it get paid off in a big lethal lockdown, whatever the fuck you want to do, where he gets the train run on him by everybody he's got beef with at the fucking end. Even on the way out, while he's all fucked up and bloodied, Rich Swann fucking cranks him with a goddamn cane across the fucking head and leaves him laying. Impact Wrestling 2020. We go off when we pay it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of layers of this cake that could be if they fucking lay it in there based on EY's history to give that 20-year wrestling viewer who knows Eric Young's story a real fucking sweet moment. And they do a lot of this. They do a lot of it. I hope they get it all in there.
So the conclusion of this match, we see Mack going for a stunner. Young gouges him in the eyes, but as he then tried to attempt to take Mack under his arm again, Mack reversed and hit a stunner out of desperation. It looks like he's going to go for the pinfall attempt. Instead, he starts the motion toward the top rope, but instead gets out of the ring, goes for a chair, brings the chair back in the ring, places it on Young's leg, seeking, of course, revenge for Rich Swann. Then he goes to the top, but Young recovers, knocks him off the top, and then he nails him with a pile driver, as you mentioned, scores the pinfall. Your winner of this match, Eric Young. Kind of, I guess they're really trying to push Eric Young, but it was just interesting that we went through all that with Willie Mack, unfortunately for Willie Mack, to not even get any little bit of retribution for his friend, Rich Swann.
Well, he but we ended with a clean finish. That's a problem. Like, right. Willie Mack should have been up. Eric Young fucking uses that chair and weapon and gets DQ'd and
right.
I was thinking the same thing.
Leaves him laying. So there's so much in this seg, but they missed 3-4 key points, and that's a big.
And then all of a sudden we have a mechanism for Eric Young to continue to get heat. So he takes out Rich Swann, he takes out his leg, then he takes out Willie Mack's leg. Well, what the fuck is Eric going to start doing for the next few weeks? He's going to start taking out people's fucking legs. And then what's going to happen to Eric Young at the end of this story? And that's when
me and Eric Young are going to take out Ken Shamrock. That's my guy.
You can even have that big moment, Ben, where let's say, where finally it's at the pay-per-view, they're getting their heat, and the baby faces and the Leave the Lockdown lock him down, and they have his foot in the chair, and then they point to the curtain, and that's when Rich Swann comes walking out with the fucking chair and starts to, and he gets the
on him. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely great retribution all the way around. And a guy he could even get it on next, or he could have got, if you want to double heat and ratchet up, if we did that front end piece of your fucking favors are used up, your favors are used up. D'Amore is down checking on Willie while he's got his back to him, and fucking Eric cranks him right there too and leaves.
Right. And that was another thing I was thinking too, is during the course of this, even though Eric Young ended up on top, Willie Mack still got a lot of stuff in on Eric Young. And to a degree, while it didn't necessarily pay off the heat, you're still giving the fans a little bit of what they want. But building heat is really about teasing the fans and almost giving them what they want and then taking it away. And that's where, to your point, I think having Willie Mack come in to try to go after Eric Young, he gets pulled off, and then Eric Young is able to get that, shot in on him and leave with heat before Willie Mack can really have a chance to get a lot of offense on Eric Young and give the people what they want. And that allows Eric Young to continue on with more heat instead of paying off some of it. It felt like a little bit got paid off, but not all of it. And
here's the problem with the match piece. There never should have been a pinfall attempt. Yeah. This is a fight retribution for your buddy whose leg got fucked over. Instead, we're doing wrestling moves going 1, 2, 3. And right there, there's nothing you can do right if you're going to go down that road. It's not going to further the story of fucking pin, dude. Like, it's about the DQ and the violence. And even if you were going to go the other way, Willie Mack could have him on something in the corner. Walk. Come on, break it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Push him back. Come back in. Walk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, Willie. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. All right, fuck it. DQ Willie, and he's just still getting his shit on Eric. They fucking finally pull Willie off, and then Eric is up and he fucking does something dastardly while they got fucking Willie held back for being a psycho, and they get on him, and it's justified. But to 1, 2, 3, this is not the way to go.
You took out my best friend's leg. Well, I'm going to hold you on the ground for 3 seconds, and then you'll be sorry.
You took my wife away from me and made her yours. Now we're going to have a match. God damn it. Yeah. What was the one? Oh, you poisoned my husband. And well, bitch, let's go. I'm going to have a match with you. And now I'm going to the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Well, where's your husband? In the fucking ICU, poisoned? That was Raw this week. Ford got pulled in the ring, passed the fuck out. His wife and Zelina Vega, who hasn't been proven as the poisoner, now let's have a match. What? And then baby's up, and we're going to the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. What?
Somebody wrote in
I'm glad I watched the Karate Kid instead.
Jeez. Somebody wrote in the chat room that Ross started with child abuse this week. What's that about?
Dude, did you not see what they did to Dominic?
Oh. I'm not watching Raw.
Woo! Dude, this is some classic ECW violence, like at a high level.
Okay.
It was an OVW. What's that?
Actually, hold on. I'll do it. You keep talking. I'll pull up a picture.
It was an OVW hazing, not just OVW, but it was a fucking Welcome to Wrestling and Mafia hazing, bro. They did this shit thing with Dominic and Joe with a contract signing with Murphy and Rollins. And then they get heat on so then Carrillo comes out and has a match with Seth, which was terrible. Sit there and take notes. Watch from the master. Then they get the kid, get heat on him, bring him in, and they wore him out with kendo stick shot, cross the back like wicked lashings, which, okay, I can get it. I wouldn't be a problem with that. Then the kid turns over and they fucking lambaste him across the tits, the ribs, the stomach. Then they hook him in the Andre shit in the fucking ropes, and our Murphy's on the fucking ground swinging. They're pulling a couple of them, but like every third one is a fucking stinger, bro. And they're just front and back laying it into him. He probably took 20, 22 kendo stick shots maybe. And fucking that's what happens right there. That's the violence that you sustain to show that you can hang in this shit, because if you can't take chops and kendo stick shots for real, then, I mean, Tommy Dreamer will pull it on you and it looks great and doesn't hurt, but that's an initiation ceremony that people got to see on TV right there. And might have gone a little excessive, but I was with it. Like the violence, the ECW violence, that's the real deal. When a baby soft newbie who isn't fucking ring hardened gets hit with a fucking kendo stick for fucking shoot maybe 15 times, that's what you look like, bro. That's why they do kendo sticks in Singapore. That's it. Like that's why it's a real fucking punishment. And can you take that amount of fucking pain to show that to show that you can do this shit? Yeah, he stayed in the pocket. He learned some lessons here of don't sit there while he's hitting you. You got to fucking move, because the longer you sit there, he's just going to fucking hit on you. You got to sell away. I learned the hard way. And, Man Beast, you've been chopped by Von Lilas, like for like the real top, and been blistered and bruised open. Like when that water hit him that next day, it was worse than that beating he took with the kendo sticks. There's nothing worse on those type of abrasions when you get in the shower, bro. He must have been screaming, crying, bro. I wouldn't even look down on him. I'm not even doing it as a rib. Like how bad that fucking hurt. Russo hit me up after I said, he goes, that's got to be doctored. I go, I don't think it is, dude, because I've taken 4 shots from Von Lilas hard as fuck, full bore.
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
My chest was green, purple, and red, just like that, bro.
Yeah. I say that Von Vliet guy took all those chops from the actual, wrestlers himself.
Right.
And
how about that fucking Mark moment with him with Ryder's class and all them, and they just chopped the shit out of him. You saw his chest. I don't think that's doctored at all, man, from what I was watching, because you could watch it in real time on Raw as he's selling, because then they did the back, then they did the front, and then they put him in the ropes. So in the time that you could see when they whacked him, one right across the top of the chest that came under his nipple, I was like, God damn, dog. So you could see them welting up in the time that it took for them to hook him up like that. So I don't think that was any makeup shit. Here's something I said on Russo brand, though, Beast. If they went too far, or if somebody thinks they took too much liberties in this hazing ceremony, it's going to come back. You think Rey Mysterio can't make a call to whoever's going to fucking face Buddy Murphy or Rollins and fucking call in a favor where they really do break his fucking leg if they want him to, dude? Like, highly possible and probable based off of that alone. Where, yeah, you wanted to get the kid in the mafia as a soldier in his fucking dad's capo regime, and he'll do a little bit, but if you go too far, if you're a fucking dude, it could come back on you from on high just as easily. And I think they might have forgot about a little of that, dude.
I was actually going to bring that up as a story probably tomorrow, but I mean, we can talk about it now. Talk about Rey Mysterio. It came out last week. Didn't Rey Mysterio just re-up with WWE? Because I think AEW offered him, they matched the actual contract date price for the WWE was offering Rey Mysterio. That's what I read last week. And not only that, but the reason why Rey Mysterio ended up going back with WWE was offering more dates. So it was the same money, but he would get more money long-term with WWE. Obviously, they probably plays more into Dominic being there. Really, well, that's why he's there.
Your son, absolutely, because if you leave, what do you think they're going to fucking... They know it. It's a hostage situation. They want to get the value out of him, but there isn't really value without Rey Mysterio. And especially if Rey Mysterio shows up on AEW and you just signed his kid, you look like a fucking mark who got worked, and you can't trust that that's not the full mole pipeline, or back and forth in case Rey's a double agent, who knows, which could have been a fucking play in the war as well. But why give them any ammo to possibly fire back at you, So that signing with him makes Rey just Legends contract, doesn't have to do nearly as much in and out, and he knows that his kid isn't going to get fucked with nearly as hard as if he left. And they know that too.
Well, if you guys want more Raw and SmackDown review news, you can listen to the Raw and SmackDown review with Vince Russo, Ben Hamin, Stevie Richards on RussoBrand.com, as well as you can check out the Friday Locker Room. I'm sure Stevie Richards will have his thoughts publicly there for you then as well. So check out those two shows, guys. Wednesday Locker Room is now up, so you can listen to their thoughts. Billy Ray Valentine, Steve King, and Andrew Bello, the Andrew Bello. But let's get back into the show. After we had that, we got the announcement there's going to be a locker room talk tonight with Rob Van Dam and Katie Fords. Then we get Gallows and Anderson wandering through the building the first time. And this is where they see a couple just backstage production people, maybe. He threatens one of them, ends the scene by saying, let's get out of here and go find somebody more important to threaten. Then we go to Wrestle House. This is the highlight of the show, was Wrestle House for sure. So Taya calls everyone into the center of the house. She says her attempts to make everyone over to the, she does the whole like a one-on-one camera scene you do in the reality TV shows. And she said her attempt to make everyone, better smelling, more hygienically clean went over so well that she's decided to do another activity. They're going to watch Taya's greatest hits. Meanwhile, that was going on. Kylie Ray wondered if, there was an electoral fraud, if everyone voted for that. And then Jake's cousin Jake said he wasn't anywhere to be found at this time, and neither was Susie, as they were setting up for their own date night, and Cody and Alicia were trying to hide that fact. Rosemary wasn't happy because Swinger was kind of tending more to Taya's needs, and then we kind of get a reunited conversation. Reunition, yeah, we get a reunification, if you will, between two people, Crazy Steve and Rosemary, who were formerly together with Abyss and the Decay, and they kind of have a little bit of a jab there. Of course, them referring to the fact that they can always come back and Decay together.
Oh, bro.
Okay.
Because I loved all these Wrestle Houses, but they just tied them together. They were so close to doing it. You want to punch up? She gets up and goes, he gets up and goes. They meet over in the corner and do this scene, or they meet right by where?
The door.
And fucking ba. Here's the thing. And be like, we could get everybody back together again. Open the door. He's fucking there.
Right.
Close the door, and we get it.
That would have been good. You're right.
We almost got there, bro. We almost got there.
That would have been good, actually.
Mm.
That would have been good. You're right. But yeah,
the third time we saw Abyss too. Yeah. In rule of threes, like that would have made the fucking scene right there, dude.
Right, or even like you were just now saying, Ted Dick tease, like he's starting to open the door and she slams it real quick. No, we're not doing that.
At this point, that they should have shown it the third time, so they could have opened it. Right. They see Abyss and they're like, "Oh, never mind. Let's not do this." You know what I mean? Let's not bring him back. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, Crazy Steve does tell her that she, of course, he can, I guess, sense her jealousy. It's very potent, and that jealousy itself can be a potent poison. Meanwhile, Susie and Jake are getting ready to go on their date together. Now, I will say, I mean, the Alicia and Susie stuff was okay, but the Diener stuff was just fucking hilarious. You see Cody in the mirror as Jake is putting on the hat, and all I could think about was I was listening to Vince Russo on Lions, Tigers, and Bears last week, and he was talking about the Road Dogg and how when the Road Dogg started off, when all his scenes with Jeff Jarrett, right before he would take over the scene or just to get his shit in, he would kind of look at the camera, put down his glasses, and then you knew something was coming. And I was just seeing little bits of this in Cody Diener as he's just looking in the mirror, doing his thing. It just really popped me. I liked the end of this scene itself. Well, what did you think of this? It ties
in great with reference because when he's got the
Roxbury.
Well, he's got the what do you call them? Fucking straps on fucking
overalls.
Overall gimmicks there. No, they're not overalls. They're fucking. What do you call the
suspenders?
Pants.
Suspenders. And they put the hat on. That's the callback to the fucking show where they did the green screen where they're the fucking boys, the fucking Southern tier wrestling shit they were doing. So that was a good callback without calling it out. But the music was there underscoring the scene as they get ready for the date. This was as 80s movie awesome as it could be. Cutting back and forth from the Taya stuff. Dude, I was sitting there watching everybody's little scene start to develop, Beast. And now we have all these worlds. All these characters are established and believable. Now we can start doing the magic of watching them intersect. And even Alicia, scene work might not have been as strong as Diener's, but still a big step up from what we've seen her just to play the best friend who's getting her other best friend pumped up to lose her virginity that we've seen in every 80s movie ever, right? It was fucking great, dude, to how they switch from each one. Everyone will get a little line in. Even when Crazy Steve gets up to go to talk to Rosemary and he sarcastically says to fucking Swinger, "You're the best mentor I've ever had. And you're the goddamn best mentor I've ever had." And he goes, man, same thing I said to Baba-san. And the outlines, they're editing on all the right outlines at the high point. And then we get to the fucking scene where they bring them into where they're going to have a dinner. And she fucking, when they got up from the other thing, Diener's excuse and Alicia's excuse were that they had the runs and they're collective partners were in the fucking shit or whatever is a lie. But they stay on that line. That becomes the scene of the game. Even though it's a shit joke, it's not whatever. They come in with the big first meeting and like, I like your dress. I like your chest hair. That fucking popped me. Then they do a fucking social distancing joke and a fucking 80s joke of sitting at the long ends of the table on their date 20 feet apart from each other. And then she goes, I've got the runs. Edit scene.
Right.
Scene at the high point. I fucking dude, I laughed hard as fuck, and I haven't had any laugh at wrestling in years, man. Really, almost like a couple swinger lines, maybe like the wrestle court thing popped me. The fact that she said that and they edited there, I was like, there's got to be a professional improviser fucking editing this show the way this scene came together, because this is right out of everything I would do with all these characters without writing it for them knowing what to do in the scenes based on their past history and how their character would get in. Even Swinger with like the sweet potato and, you know, spuds and things like that, dude. Like, just such high level, small things that put over your character. That who wants to see wrestling? The only time we wanted to see wrestling is when it actually means something for these characters now, not to have a match. And we get there in the second clip of this with Triple XL, but I fucking loved all three of these segments tonight, man.
Ted, did you have any thoughts more on this segment before we move on?
Not on this, but I on the later scenes. But to Ben's point, I agree. It's just very well done and very entertaining. Actually, this is one my wife, who has been jaded on wrestling, this is one of the few things that she will actually sit down and watch with Wrestle Rise. So and that, y'all don't know my wife, but for me that says a lot. Ben knows if she doesn't like it, she will not watch. And so they actually take the time to watch that. It means that they are putting out good quality stuff that is reaching towards, you know, it's one of those things that I think any people that, even if you're not a wrestling fan, this is funny. It's easy to get.
It's funny. It's good stuff.
And if you are a wrestling fan and know the history, you've really been following these characters that have been in and out because of things beyond their control, with the company being sold or they're switching gimmicks and da-da-da. Okay, all that, we've been through it all. It's all getting tied into the high level scene work of this. And even if you don't know that, it's still entertaining. But if you do know that, it's fucking Einstein level brilliant wrestle crap writing. And
it's rewarding as a long time fan.
It makes, as an audience member, it makes you feel that all the time you've invested, it is worth it, every cent of it, dude. And they're really doing this well, like beyond what as how well I would expect them to do it. And that's not a slight on them. I just haven't seen anything of this level in so long that I'm very happy about it. I'm very happy about it. Can't you tell how happy I am? Teddy Tedward, you know.
Shout out to Johnny 00 Bats in the chat room, who subscribed to Twitch Prime. Go ahead. Sorry, Teddy Edwards. No? All right. Well, let's move on then. The next segment was Reno Scum attacking Rhino, because last week, as we found out, Hernandez and his new mustache that he's going on, I like that he's got the comb every week now. He hired Reno Scum to take out Rhino, get back his wad of money, and they do that in this scene. So I guess not much else from there, but at least they gave us a little bit to kind of, you know, drop the pebble in the pond for the story to continue. I guess we'll probably get a follow-up next week with Rhino. I'm hoping that will eventually lead to him now bringing in Heath, which we'll talk about here later when we get into the locker room talk. But next up, then we had Kimberly versus Jordan Grace. You guys kind of talked about it already as far as the finish. You know, we saw Kimberly going up for her moonsault, or I'm sorry, the Swanton bomb, and then Jordan Grace getting her knees up and then locking in the chokehold, the rear naked choke for the win. Did you guys want to talk any more about that at all? Ted, do you have any thoughts on it?
We talked earlier. It was a good little match. Here was again my thought going into this was, we just saw Kimberly face Jordan Grace a few weeks back. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was within the last month. And Jordan Grace got a bit more.
Beat her.
A little bit more.
This is what I brought up last week. Yeah.
And this was a little more 50-50. But here's my question, I guess, as a viewer, was why? What happened to Kimberly that motivated her, besides Deanna telling her she wanted to soften up Jordan Grace, and I guess she would get a future title shot. But I still didn't really get a sense of why all of a sudden is Kimberly, other than being extra motivated, why all of a sudden is she able to hold her own a lot more? Like I would have liked to have seen more scenes of why Kimberly is or what she's doing to prepare for Jordan Grace that's going to allow her to go in the ring and hold her own more. Like I feel like there was even though they did really great work in the ring, I think there was a missed opportunity here for character growth.
To your point, do you think it would have been more beneficial, because Matthews puts it over in this match, that she got signed? Why didn't we get like a VTR prior to the match just to kind of give us an idea of who Kimberly is now?
Right. Yeah.
Ben? Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think she's just a good utility hand. Sure, we could use a detail or two for character-wise, but Jordan Grace is established. The stuff with Deonna is the bigger story, so this is just, you know, the get-over match of here's the hurdle in your way. She's doing the Bret Hart thing, facing somebody before the pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
But why didn't she attack Jordan Grace afterwards, or why didn't she get disqualified? I thought the whole point was to help Deonna Purrazzo. It shouldn't matter if she gets the victory in this. And here,
yes,
and it's chokehold. That's why.
True.
Let me choke you out and then get up and get heat on me, Matt. See how well it goes.
Well, no, I'm just saying when she had Jordan Grace down, and she should have just moved to the outside, got in a chair, and just stared beating her ass. I mean, at that point, does it matter?
I don't think she's that level of evil heel. Because that puts more heat on her than it does on Deonna Purrazzo, which is the payoff.
So I guess a different point would be, how did this further the story between Deonna and Jordan more than what we saw a couple weeks ago with Kimberly also putting over Jordan, other than it was a little bit more of a match than the last one was?
Well, Matt, to Matt's point, if you want to do that spot, Matt, I don't have a problem with it, but it's not her spot to do. Jordan's got her in the fucking kind of chair, and then Deonna comes down with the fucking chair and whacks her across the fucking back, and we ding, 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 ding. So that way Kimberly is protected. She never tapped out. She can be on the cell. Fucking then, you know, she's on the cell too.
Roll over and gets up and helps.
And heals her up. So now we know the fucking payoff. And then even if you wanted to really heal it, fucking she helps up Kimberly. And because she didn't fucking get over on Donna or on Jordan Grace, Deonna fucking heals on her too and walks her one. And down she fucking goes. So
that I'll like, because I feel like at this point we either have to make Jordan more than what we can make her. I don't think another win over Kimberly is going to make Jordan any more, or we get more heat on Deonna Purrazzo. And what we saw with Deonna do on this show, in my opinion, really didn't get her any more heat, and that was just cutting a promo, which honestly wasn't even all that emotionally investing for me. So I like that, Ben, of her coming out at the end, because at least we would have had a reason to put more heat on the heel, which as far as it relates to the story between Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo, I don't feel going into this next week that they did anything more to further that story, really, other than reminding people that it was going on. You know what I mean?
I've been known to put a little heat on heels now and then.
Well, moving on after that, also apparently, if I'm counting it correctly here, it looks like Johnny Double O Bats gave you 33 bits. 33.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so then we go to another edition of the Locker Room Talk. I did like the fact that during the middle of this match, there's something that I thought I want to give Impact credit for. Toward the end of the Jordan Grace and Kimberly match, Madison Rain goes, I got to go now. It looks like Kimberly's got this wrapped up. I got to go do Locker Room Talk. So I like that she got off headset to go do it, even though it was probably filmed, right? Different times.
Right. So, yeah,
there was the continuity. I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. That's fucking giving a shit. That is absolutely caring. In WWE, they leave in one part of the match and they come back in a replay from the match the week before, and they don't even address what's happening. You're like, what the fuck? Or we have what is it? Retribution. They do a run-in on the show, and then they do a run on the next show. Then the next week on Raw, they've got their own package that's recapping them as anarchists that are supposed to be on the outside. But so apparently, guess who the leader of fucking Retribution is?
Jeremy Borash.
Kevin Dunn.
Oh, Kevin Dunn. Sorry.
Because he's the one who would be putting it on air, right?
Right.
Your mystery fucking solved. Like, that's how stupid they are at fucking even the most basic continuity. So when you see something where she gets up and leaves, and even it's probably pre-taped, thank you for giving a fuck about me as a watcher, having in linear storyline, moving your characters around, You know, even if you got to make a move that doesn't mean much to the story, it means everything to the fucking linear storytelling of it, dude.
Yeah, I agree. It keeps you engaged as a viewer. You're not losing that sense of reality. You're still into what the program is they're delivering. Yeah, Matt.
Killing it. She's killing it on commentary, dude.
So yeah, we go to this.
We did talk it earlier in the show. It was a very quick moment, but Madison popped me too when he said something about no wonder you're single or something like that, and she just looked at her wedding ring and went to take it off.
Good shit. She gets it, dude. She fucking gets it.
Yeah, she does. Well, she goes into her locker room, a talk here, and she's interviewing Rob Van Dam and Katie Forrest. Now, but before she does that, she goes, this segment is now sponsored, and it goes to Heath Slater in front of a green screen. Got fireworks going on in the background, and he's trying to get over his hashtag Heath for Impact to try to get the fans to get the hashtag trending, so that way Impact will give him a job. He says, of course, I still got kids, still need a job. And then Madison Rain said, of course, anyone's money is as good as anyone here. And I guess they're really, again, like I mentioned before, they're positioning him as this undercard comedy act, right? It's kind of the same storyline.
I liked it, but to me, it's like they already kind of blew the spot when they put Heath on TV a couple weeks ago. Like I like the idea of him buying sponsorship spots, and I like how it kind of got cut off before he finished. And I think even that, it's a silly little thing, but he could have kept doing that. All right, this week, guys, I'm going to have my stopwatch, make sure I don't go overtime this time, but then he goes overtime again. But like each week, he's trying to get this Heath for Impact thing over and trying to start basically a movement for Heath. And so that way, when we finally get the chance to see him on TV, it's something that they've been building towards and making fans want to see versus we're going to give it away to you for free. And then now make you have to wait for him to come back and do it. When he had the one match, what happened during that match that made me want to say, I have to see Heath Slater again on Impact? Can you all answer that?
No, it was supposed to be for contract and shit, right? And then he loses the Moose after sneaking in. So are we going to go back to comedy where he is in things, or is he this Stone Cold Steve Austin ass whipper Heath now that we need to respect?
Based on this, it seems like they're going back to comedy, which again, it's like you got to commit to one thing. So they made him serious, and now it's comedy. It's like, and that's the quickest way to create apathy for a character is to go multiple directions and not just stick with one.
100%, man. And that he's way better at comedy, and there's been a way better way to start him off. So they've already, as well as with the Good Brothers and with Hawkins that we'll talk about in the main, every 90-day WWE guy that they spent top money for, they've marginalized and made, like you said, apathetic their audience to them. They don't really give a shit, and they don't have any stakes or star power of like, oh shit, this guy's here. Everybody on this show that impressed me was Impact fucking soldier and has been for the last year pretty much, and dedicated to their craft. And everybody who didn't impress me is a quote unquote superstar that has been owed a fucking spot they think in their life. And then when it comes time to show and prove, really didn't fucking do much to get themselves over or advance their storylines or make themselves must-see TV for next week. Really, it makes them look like these guys are just here to collect a fucking check. They don't give a shit about the product, dude.
There's no way that's true.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about recent, or I guess within the last year, as far as former WWE talents, I would have to commend Moxley as really being the only one to really like establish himself as a brand and entity, that was different from his WWE persona, or at least a different variation of it. You know what I mean? Like, so that way, when he finally came into AEW, there was some excitement versus Heath Slater has been continuing this kind of same old shtick.
Well, he's trying to be Moxley right now, which is not working, right? It's not to what the audience is conditioned to. If I've been doing comedy at a low level and my tag partners here, we can reference that and show ourselves as real dudes that are bros and fucking got each other's back, or we can go and do comedy of the shit that we wanted to do there, but got way watered down, bastardized. Like, let's take the handcuffs off and really write some fucking awesome shit to get us over. That is like, holy fuck, I liked Rhino and him when they did that, but you should see the reference and the shit that they're doing now. Hilarious, had me rolling. Now we're back to square one with just getting that started after we tried to get him out of the fucking bricks or out of the gate with some other shit that wasn't him, man.
See, I just don't see the value of him as a comedy act at all. So I wanted to see it. They should have just brought him in night one with Rhino, and Heath should have turned on him then. And then you could have established Heath as some sort of formidable heel. He's obviously on the Triple H diet, right? So like you could really reinvent this character who is Heath Slater. And then if you want to go back to comedy, but like
that's the problem. Some guys are natural, likable dudes. You just can't get them to turn heel, man. Like as much as you would try, they're never going to be that badass of a heel. And I think he might be one of those dudes. Not to say he can't. I'm not trying to short his performance skills, but there's some guys when you just look at him, you're like, this guy's comedy and he's money. Now, this is where we're going to go with it. Now, do the most out of it instead of trying to make his whole career. You got to put 5 years into what you just talked about there, dude, to like make him a legitimate ass. You can make it look a certain way, but the credibility is not going to be there until he has fucking knockdown dragouts with Sami Callihan, Eddie, Moose, Dreamer. You can go right down the line of the, like, and he's got to go over on all those fucking dudes. And that just isn't as believable or to your audience to start selling merch and get him hot as doing something that will go through history as wrestling comedy while he was here for who knows how long, like get the most out of him while he's there with what he's best at a high level.
I guess what he's doing is just played out to me as the viewer itself. Like I'm just not interested in it because to me it's just Heath Slater, same old Heath Slater.
What does he have? He's got
kids.
Why? How many of the kids have we ever seen?
0.
Yeah. How many kids does he have?
0.
No, he does.
4 maybe.
What is the Heath? How many? Only 4? I picture at least 8. Do you imagine scenes with him after he lost to Moose having to go home and face fucking he lives in a single wide trailer and fucking
that would have been good.
He's about to fucking walk up the steps. All you hear is screaming inside and fucking and he's just like, motherfucker. And that's all we need to see from him.
Right.
Slater's got kids. It's the line that is. You don't have to say I got kids. You show he's got kids and that he's a beaten man. And then you hear like, did you get it, Dad? He closes the door and then the wife, what the fuck? Like that's Heath Slater's life. Then he comes back next week, dejected and shit, trying to ask for a job, doing whatever the fuck it is, referee, whatever, right? Like, let's show the shit that WWE didn't do and really
right. See, that would be more empathy. Now you're drawing more of me as the viewer to be more empathetic toward Heath and now wanting to use this hashtag. At this point, you're just like you said, it just kind of looks like he's just showing up to get a paycheck. But someone who doesn't show up to get a paycheck, or he does, and hopefully he's getting some sort of money, is the Rascals. These guys, as they were up next after this, but I don't want to skip to that. Actually, let me go back to the locker room talk. So RVD and Forbes are making out, and this basically turns off Rain, and she says, you guys can keep the couch, and she's done. So she gets up and leaves. They finally come up for air and realize that it's just them. They start interviewing each other, trying to be cute. And then all of a sudden, Sami Callihan hacks in. He attacks RVD initially, but the tide is turned eventually with Sami Callihan on the ground, RVD and Katie Forbes attacking him. That last one, the kick to the back with her heel, looked like it might have actually caught Sami. But other than that, I liked her using the hairspray to break that up. I thought that was pretty ingenious for the chick to find a female to have some brains, and there's a wrestling show, pulls out hairspray. Yeah, take him out with that. That's great. Blinding him, allowing Rob to stomp the hell out of him.
Too, bro. If you got fucking whack Aqua at that close range, it don't matter what you were doing. Instantly, it's a motherfucker, right? And RVD can get up on you quick. Right now, we got to take this ICU hack attack break to put over the Tech Meme podcast. If you're into hacking, taking over shows, then you want to check out the Tech Meme Ride Home podcast, our sponsor here at Hamin Media Group and hackerhamin.podbean.com. Brian McCullough, your host, walks you through 25 minutes of the top tech stories from Silicon Valley. Even Mark Zuckerberg said that when he needs to go to the news, he brings up the podcast in his AI brain mainframe from Elon Musk and downloads it directly, the Tech Meme podcast from Brian McCullough for the ride home. So if you guys are, burning through all the Hamin Media Group and Hacker Hamin podcasts, please add him on your iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're getting it. And absolutely the tech meme ride home. So I think it's going to be good for trends. If you're an investor, you like quick in and outs. He's got a lot of letting you know what's going on in the tech world. Maybe you can get ahead of some things, make yourself some money. If you're like Stevie and you're just into technology like it's pornography and microphones, he's got you covered there. So we appreciate them joining us as a sponsor this month. Please go over, follow them everywhere, Twitter, and let them know that Hamin Media Group sent you so we can do good business across the board to keep our shows free. And so Sammy Callahan can keep, he's got a handsome beard and his head of hair pisses me off because it's so nice. But so Sammy Callahan can kick out and ICU can come back because he got healed like a son of a bitch by Katie Forbes, and Tech Meme Podcast may cover that as well because it was a shot heard around the world. Dude, that was some serious healing, man, Beast. I like this little scene. Right. It got sexy, weird. I popped huge when Madison Rain exited and she goes, "Keep the couch." I laughed on that one too, bro. It got skanky. Then it got weird and violent comedy, and I liked it. It was good, dude, and it was all right.
All right, MSG, I want to ask you a question here. What was the business?
The business in this scene was to further along the Sammy Callahan RVD feud.
Specifically, though, it was to further it, but specifically to what? Was it to build someone up, to put heat on someone?
Well, it would be to put heat on Katie Forbes at this point, right? Because she's the one who took Sammy Callahan out of the history.
Absolutely, in my opinion. We're going to see her ass get pile driven by Sammy Callahan by the end of this.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see Katie Forbes continuing to be the loudmouth heel. I was testing you. I was thinking you were going to either have RVD and Katie share the heat, or say it was to put heat on Rob. But this was about Katie Forbes getting her shit in, and it's going to.
I do homework.
Go down the line. So.
Ted subscribes. Since you've joined the Hamin Media Group, Ted, I think you have elevated most of all the producers here. Not to say that Ben Hamin doesn't do a good job of yelling at us and beating it into us, but you do more of kind of like an actual, more of an educator stamp. Like, hey, let me hold your hand a little bit.
Different approaches. Ben's always right on the money, and my approach has always been just to ask questions, and I feel like that kind of helps to open the dialogue a little bit and kind of put you on the spot to have to think through these things, but then it allows more understanding of why things are taking place.
That's an interesting Goji, because, and for those who don't know what that means, you can look it up, but it's the style of learning, because that's how Man Beast learns and teaches. Where when I take from my mentors, the things that stand out the most are like carved onto me, bro. Like they're just carved into my brain. So I think that's why I rant so much to say these parables and get them all out, because I feel like maybe that's just how I learn. So I feel like that's how others learn, but you do it a different way. And the way he just said, respond, that's how he may learn as well. Where me, it's just like, boom, dude, etch this into your skin and fucking know it forever, because this is a truth, So Ben is like dad and Ted is like mom. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's a good one. No, it really is. But I like it both. Like, I mean, because like it's actually kind of in my actual.
To be honest with you, that's not far off. Man Beast was raised by wonderful women, and he definitely has
two women
to it. And I'm raised by fucking lumberjacks and fucking woodsmen and that kind of shit. And it's just. One is not a wrong way of thinking, or the other. It's just how you approach the situation,
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I also think that I also appreciate Mr. Silvio as well, working with him and you guys as well on like the fuse. So
Silvio's like the fun uncle.
Yeah,
around.
Silvio is cool. Silvio's I wouldn't even say fun uncle. He's the fun cousin that you get in trouble with because after you go spray painting under the bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like my cousin Chris. Like, hey, dude, this guy gave me weed on the job site, but I can't have it around with the kids. Take this and go ahead. Chris hit me with that one when I was in 11th grade. I was like, Chris, you're the fucking man, B. Holy shit. But that's, Sill's like, I can't smoke this shit anymore. My head's too fucked up. You take it. I had this half. Go have fun, boys.
So up next after now, we've got the Rascals, Dez and Wentz. They're worried about Trey. They haven't seen him, but then he shows up in the suicide mask. Apparently, this is the rib now. Everyone can just steal the suicide mask. But Moose walks past.
You never know who's underneath it, and everyone's wondering. So it's a rib on the rib without saying it. I'm sorry. You can run through this scene in a minute. Fucking bravo to the Rascals. bravo to the scene writing. Bravo to Moose's beard. He just had heat as soon as he walked in the fucking scene. Moose's acting, I wish I could work with him. It could get stepped up a little. He slow played it. He got there. I didn't have a problem with it. He thinks he's in Scarface all the time, which I kind of like. That's his world. He wants to be Ramon. That's cool. But the way that these dudes in the Rascals interact, react, set up little gimmicks and jokes, and even get the most out of taking off an EC3 sweatshirt it inspires me, and it makes me hope to work with them, or even just be on a show to tell them, as young men, you guys are a decade ahead of performers in this business. Stick together. You have chemistry. You know what you're doing. It's apparent. And challenge yourself, even if your characters are still young and goofy, for another 5-6 years before you transition out of it. You guys have the chemistry. You have so much to play with, and the opportunities you could create for yourself as individuals and as a group and in long-term business are immeasurable. That fucking scene showed me so much of give and take group play at a high improvisation level. Again, on the show, I'm blown away watching Impact this week of like, am I fucking getting up and I have another persona and I'm not gonna put myself over and I'm directing these scenes, because this is exactly what I've been wanting for 2 decades. And in this show, I got a lot of that, bro. A lot of it. And these guys fucking killed it, man.
It does make you wonder if someone was brought on or promoted or something, because it was noticeable, especially this week. I mean, not that they're writing, they've had certain pieces of moments, but yeah, it seemed a little more touched up this week than in.
It could also be too that they've been building, and that's everybody's starting to get it. You remember when everybody started to get it when I was training you guys, kind of in like that 3-month vein, and once you saw somebody get it. And then it becomes like a chain reaction kind of, and then you see where we can fit together. And this week it was at fucking breakneck speed, man. I was loving it, dude.
Agreed. So to break down that,
you won't hear me say that on almost any other show the last fucking 5 years that I've been on, man. It blew me away.
Yeah, so to break down the scene, Moose walks past them as he's wearing the mask, and that he's offended, as you mentioned, that Wentz is wearing a free EC3 hoodie, and he's like, yeah, I found the hoodie when EC3 was attacked you last time. And they're like, don't say that. Why would you say that? Do you want me to take it off? He's like, okay, can I take it off when you leave? Because it's kind of cold right now. I really don't want to take it off.
Right. So he's playing the game of take it off, don't take it off. And that doesn't mean shit to the scene, but he's getting his tiny little character thing in there that makes the heat ratchet up. We're at level 1. You know what I mean? And then you even have his boy trying to talk him down, and it's not fed lines. None of this is written. Nope. There's no way you're going to write that and get those kind of reactions in and out. Somebody just said, here's the scene that Moose needs to come in and do this. Whoop, wow. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it definitely kind of felt like it was like a conversation I'd have with my stoner friends when you're just chilling. Like, well, I found this hoodie. You want me to take, are you sure? It's cold right now, dude. Can I take it off later? Yeah. So, I liked it. And then, of course, then Moose goes, you know what? Suicide. I've beaten you 2 times. What's better than beating you for a 3rd time? So he gives him a contract.
3rd time's a charm.
3rd time's a charm, right? So he gives him the contract, and then, of course, Trey takes the hoodie off, and now I guess apparently Trey is going to get a opportunity either as Suicide or as himself next week to fight Moose. And I like this for the title.
It shouldn't be as Suicide, I don't think. I think he should come out and be like, where's Suicide? But he shows that he got fucking tricked, and then Moose gets heat on him right away. Go ahead, Beast.
Either that, or he can clearly come out completely dressed as the Rascals, except for he's got the mask on, so it's clear. Take it off and be like, Moose, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So,
or he wins with it and then takes the mask off, and Moose gets
Moose demasks him, and Moose feels pumped. Then you hit Suicide's music, and Suicide comes out masked. It wasn't him at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Suicide mask.
So then after that, then we do go back to segment 2 for Wrestle House.
Sorry, what if you wrestle crap this and it would fucking take away from Moose's heat? But if that was the key, where Moose becomes obsessed with Suicide, everybody on the roster buys a suicide mask. And
I was thinking that. Tom Streamer actually.
Moose fucking goes crazy. He only wants to kill suicide, but you know who it is every fucking week. You could even have dudes trying to get away, and fucking Moose is running after him. They turn the corner. There's a ref. You take your mask off, put it on the fucking guy. He was chasing one guy, with the ref, and Moose only sees a suicide mask, kills the fucking dude. You know what I mean? And there's so many fucking ways to play that out. That would be.
Man. Yeah, I like Moose running to the back. He's all paranoid, and he looks over to the producers. Where's suicide? And you see 3 producers all turn with suicide masks. Oh my god! You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. And he's got to kill them all. Like he just starts going like, and then what are you doing? What are you really doing? What's going to happen in the underground?
People are going to buy the suicide masks.
You fucking got it, bro. They're going to want to fucking get them and like be a part of that. So when Moose goes to indie shows, if we can ever run again, what do? You have Moose shows up with 200 suicide masks, gives them to the promoter to sell, says, I'll give you $1 off of each one, $25 a pop. You sell them. So when he comes out, if you got the hard marks to do it, Moose just made $500. And then when he comes out, the whole crowd's involved with the bit. What the fuck? You don't know who he's going to be. And he's ready, like,
if you want to get
right, everyone's jumping up and down, crazy.
Yeah, and have Moose say, I want everyone to take. I'm not going to wrestle till everyone takes their suicide masks off. You know what I mean? And people want to buy more, and
and then everybody does it, and then if they're not gonna, and then everybody takes them off. He gets them to do it. He heals. Then you hit the music, and your local guy, Captain Nick Ando, or whoever you love, is your Dick Justice, comes out as fucking suicide. And then you have the fucking gimmick, and he goes like so much possibility in these small moments of brilliance that can send something into a shockwave that could change a guy's career forever, where he doesn't even have to bump. Now he's just doing character, and he's got a lifetime feud against suicide, and anybody on any show ever can play suicide and do it to where they know who it is, because you created the reality that Moose is obsessed with suicide, not the act of it, the wrestler.
Yeah, he wants to kill it. He wants to kill suicide.
And then
that's an anti-bullying.
Right? You can license out the character. Suicide can wrestle at multiple independent wrestling shows. You know what I mean? Get it over.
Make bullying kill itself. Eric, we don't want you to die, Eric. Please don't die. Anyway, we are back at Wrestle House now with the same scene again. Now with Steve now counseling Rosemary, and I think you might be right, because like them coming back to them still sitting in the living room, it definitely should have been. They should have been somewhere else, because it did feel off. But it was still a good scene nonetheless. As Rosemary and Steve are talking, and Steve gives her the idea that, hey, maybe you should make Johnny Bravo jealous. So she starts to size up the room, makes her different little facial reactions upon each individual. AC Romero, there was Johnny Swinger. She looked at and made a face. She does eventually settle on Larry D. They use a little bit of after effects with her blowing up.
That's all it needed to be. It was good.
Yeah. She's blowing some after effects or, powder on him. And now he's in love with her. And then throughout the rest of the scene, Taya's, watching she's trying to put over her highlights. AC Romero's trying to share some popcorn with him. But unfortunately, at this point, Larry D's all googly eyed. So this gets Romero upset because, he refuses to eat the popcorn. He's like, well, now I know something's wrong with you. He's like, I'm going to take you to the ring and we're going to slap some sense into you. Then, of course, Tommy Dreamer pops up out of nowhere and Taya's like, oh, God, no, please don't. And he yells out match time. And then we go to the ring outside with Larry D taking on his partner, AC Romero, as Larry D wants to impress his new love interest. And he does. It's just a quick match as Larry D does get the victory. And during the match, after he wins, he's looking over at Rosemary. I won for you. I did this for you, if you will. What'd you think of this, Ben? This whole setup?
Phenomenal. This made me love Larry D and AC.
Yeah.
I his work when Larry D became under the spell and he just did the happy, I love everybody face and was in that character and didn't break out of it. And then we go into the improv scene about the popcorn that is somewhat set up, but the back and forth between these two guys, completely believable again. I'm going, this is scene work I have not seen in wrestling in a long time. Not that it's Sopranos level, but it doesn't need to be. Even this is
Wire
where
level?
What's that?
The Wire level?
I don't even think it's to that, but the wire, it's above the wire, I think. No.
Okay.
But all of these little worlds colliding, and now we have the mythic world with some potion from a witch on a fucking fat guy who would never really interact, and it's a spell and a love potion. He sells it. He believes in her reality, which starts and goes back into the fat guy reality. And then boom, we're having a match. It's baby against guys who tagged. And we would never really see that outside of Wrestle House unless they were in a tournament where they happen to be both climbing and bang.
Even more importantly, we would otherwise probably not even give a shit about seeing these two fight.
Wouldn't give a fuck. And in the little comedy scene before this, it made this whole match important. It made it awesome. The big swinger on the outside. Nice potato, daddy. Hit him with the spud. And boom, down they go. Neither guy got hurt. It pays off the bit. Taya Valkyrie gets her moments in as well while everyone's watching her highlight.
Once again, the referee, Cody Deaner, he gets it like he was fantastic here too. As I'm saying, Cody Deaner making the most of everything.
To be honest with you, Cody was great in that, but Crazy Steve in the fucking main was even better than Deaner was as the ref here. So even when I talk about this with Stevie and Russo, when I try to teach them improv, in a 3-person scene, there's an A, B, and C player. A and B are the two back and forth in the scene. So that's AC and Larry. The C player is the ref, who is usually out of the way, but will have the right line at the right time. In a real match, it's 1, 2, 3 or whatever. But in the comedy lines, you got to be there with the right line to back up both of those guys of what they're doing in the game. And and Deaner absolutely did that the whole time too, bro. Like to watch high level scene work like that when they don't really know what they're like. I'm not trying to down Deaner because fucking the guy's unbelievable performer, but do they really know about the breakdown of comedy scenes and improv, or do they just know? Do they just know when it feels right and it's going? I believe that's it. Now imagine if they could have the scientist mind about it and apply the logic that they know to wrestling to that and break it down the same way. Where we could go is fucking unbelievable, bro. And
so if we equate it to music, it's like a self-taught musician. Oh, I found the pocket. I'm playing in the pocket versus that classically trained of wearing to know where the pocket to go to is.
You know, all modality, every fucking every, you know, you can break it down any way you want to with full music theory, as opposed to the Jimi Hendrix who plays it by ear. And the technician might not get you the original artistry that a Jimi Hendrix might, because that's what they have and where they have to go down that road. But once it's established by Jimi Hendrix, the trained artist can go and deconstruct that and show you why it's fucking important and do all that around. So we've got that, but I really feel that there is an acting coach or some type of mentor on the scene now, Beast. I think you're right, because I don't know how you can step the scene work up and interact these worlds in 2 shows at such a high level without it.
Well, after we had that Wrestle House moment, we then go backstage now with the Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo. She says that Jordynne Grace has been acting more crazy and violent than ever. She says that Jordynne Grace is cleared and she does deserve a title shot. And then Purrazzo will offer her the first ever Knockouts 30-minute Iron Man match at Emergence. Now, I like this idea, but why didn't they just call this a 30-minute Iron Woman? Why did they have to call it a Knockouts 30-minute Iron Man? I don't understand that.
Yeah,
that's a mouthful.
That could be a fuck you right to Jordynne Grace, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it might be, but also it's just a term, like they have the Iron Man events. You know what I mean? It's people. You know, it's just a term.
But I mean,
you're right. It's like the history thing, and
it's the very first ever.
It should have, but you know, it is what it is.
And in this day of age of Me Too and SJWs, wouldn't it make sense to make it Iron Woman?
Like I said, the office is going to do what they want to do, and I believe because of that. That's why, because of whatever. But let's talk about it right here.
This is a Hustler Rip Rogers. Yeah, it's fucking me.
This is a Hustler Rip Rogers student, maybe not directly, aside from a couple weeks, but Damian Adams is training the best and most proficient women in professional wrestling now, and men. I would say. at his school all through Rip Rogers' method. And the difference between Rip and Damien is Damien can get in there and go with you right now, where Rip, after his car accident, couldn't roll anymore. So Damien,
Rip's role was.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what Rip's role is to get people to the point where they can get in there and go. And Damien is one of the few people that have gone through Rip's class that has gotten to the point where they can go the classic Broadway, being able to go an hour and just wrestle without calling it in the ring. And Damien's one of the people that has had that through Rip.
You're the people. You're the number one Rip guy who can do that. Let's not shortchange it. So that's what I'm getting to.
Though. There's
more. Yeah, I can't. Well, I could now, but not then. But fucking half hour. Like, this is a Rip Rogers 101, test spectacular. And Damien's going to book this whole thing because he's run it through in practice with Deanna 50 different ways, 50 times, because Damien wants to get all these girls to like the Man Beast, Adam Revolver, Rip level of being able to go, I can pull an hour with anybody. So a half hour is going to be a fucking walk in the park. And if they're really going to do it and had belief in these girls, they'd let them do the half hour here and then have an all-girls pay-per-view and let them pull an hour if they do a good job with it there. And Deanna, based on Damien's training via Rip, could pull it off because I've watched this guy do it, and I know Damien can do it. And if it's in that same vein, then let him go. And from what I saw from Jordan Grace earlier tonight, just an 8 to 10 minute get over, the half hour could be very good. Could be very good. So at the end of the day, I just didn't do shit for business to like make me care about it, except for the fact that I know Damien and Deanna, and that she got over wearing the Hustler Rip Rogers shirt on the Indies as a Hustler girl. And now we're going to apply some Hustler logic on Impact. And I'm pretty pumped to see it.
Well, after that, they finally caught up you, Dr. Ted. They finally gave you some answers. They gave you a video package with the North and the Motor City Machine Guns. And I think they did a really good job here of emphasizing the North's history about them going through all the tag teams for a full year, as well as giving us a reason why the Motor City Machine Guns showed up. They showed up to take on the North. I thought this was a really good package. What did you think of this, Ted? Did this kind of maybe give you some more background that you were looking for?
Yeah, I'd say so. I still, well, in between, because my original thought was I wanted to see them show all the North dominance as their 10-year champions. But then instead they had showed the Motor City Machine Guns, and I liked it because they played into Ethan Page getting hot about why didn't we get the video package. So I did like it. That being said, I also felt like the opportunity could have been still continuing to play that up. You know, why isn't the North on the show? Why don't we have a video package and having Ethan Page continue to be awesome Ethan Page and doing more of that? I'm not saying it was necessarily the wrong thing to do, because it did help continue the storyline and kind of illustrate the importance of this feud between them. But I also think that there were opportunities potentially also to continue on and build the characters of Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. So I'm not saying it was good or bad. I just think there was an opportunity potentially where they could have done it differently and maybe gotten more character development. But that being said, that's me being nitpicky, because it certainly wasn't bad. It was a good package.
Okay. Yeah, like Ego responding to him, man. He kills it. There's no doubt about it. Every time he gets the opportunity to. I wasn't too jazzed about Motor City Machine Guns here, playing like kind of plucky and downplaying. Like, we had a better, we could have found a better way to shine those guys. You know what I mean? They just came off a little blase blah to me, instead of being like, these dudes are back, man. Fucking let's put it over and talk about what's motivated them to come back and why are they here, instead of we're just better than them. Oh, okay.
Didn't one of them go off and become a doctor too? Like, I don't know. That would have been kind of cool to, introduce.
That's what every wrestler's doing, becoming a doctor. That shit's beat.
It's played out.
Is it? All right. Gotcha. Sorry. Well, I figured it was working for one doctor on the other show, and they seem to be kind of going back and forth with different ideas here, but we'll get to that later. I have thoughts on the main event.
Everybody's a doctor. You're a doctor. I'm a doctor. She's a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. So up next, we have a tag team match here. Knockouts tag team with Steele and Hogan taking on Nevaeh and Havoc. Interestingly enough, I liked this. I thought there was some good back and forth between the females here, and it kept my attention. As far as using some of the different weapons like the street sign, and but I was just shocked that Kiera Hogan and Tosh Steele's got the victory here. They pick up the victory over Nevaeh and Havoc. What'd you think, Ben?
I'm big fan of all these girls kind of right now, but I think there was some ribbing going on the mic, and I'll put that over too. But I like the finish because they make havoc, like in the double suplex spot. They shine havoc with all her right stuff, and it's safe and make her look great. So when they get her on the outside, we're doing the Rip Rogers. The threat of violence is more important than the violence itself. She goes to get shit canned through onto the table on the outside, catches her heel to stop herself. And I was like, ooh, she effed up the shit can. But then I saw the table, gets up. No, she didn't. Out comes Tasha Steelz, gets her in the big choke lock in the back, hits her with the kick. And then Hogan hits her with one, and she goes through the table. Now we've marginalized our beast, right? That's the big weapon. So I know as a wrestler that the finish is coming on Nevaeh at that point. Right. So I was with it because they told the right story for somebody just tuning in who isn't in the business, who were watching them get their ass kicked, and these girls go over. I might have done a little something different in the end with Nevaeh with the sign and duck one, hit her, bing, bang, boom, hit her with the other thing, and Kiera Hogan up. But for a little hardcore match between badass girls, this was pretty cool, man. I liked it. But in the middle, they were talking about, well, women find, each other as partners, and they don't get along and but they find a way to make it work. And these two have made it work. Like, so is there some shit where they were getting in? It sounded to me like, without saying it, that Tasha, and this is all hypothetical, from commentary getting little inside wrestling ribs, and that Tasha Steelz might be hard to work with, and Kiera Hogan didn't want to tag with her, and that it's hard to put stuff together with, but they all come together to make their own careers more important and the Impact Women's Division great. That was like the underlying sell of what they were saying on that. Did you catch that, Beast, or am I off base?
I did not, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I have a bad habit of missing lines here and there, so I didn't pick up on that. But that is interesting because Impact, probably more so than any of the other bigger promotions, tends to toe that line between reality and fiction a little more, as far as bringing up things that are going on backstage or inside industry knowledge and things. And
after she said that, I watched them, and Tasha Steelz and Hogan weren't like, not that they were miscued on stuff, but Tasha Steelz just looked like she wasn't into being with Hogan and doing their own individual thing, getting ready to set up for the next spots. Maybe that tainted my vision of it after hearing that, but That was an interesting sidebar on commentary there. So, because I thought maybe after they said that, they're setting up for whoop, wop, whoop, and then duck one, and Tasha hits Kiera, Nevaeh hooks her and gets her in something after that. Like I thought maybe they were setting up for that, and then we're going to go Tasha and Kiera split, but it just seemed like a little bit of dig from what was reality backstage on that.
Hey, Ted, before you jump in, I have a question. Did it make sense for Steelz and Hogan to come out first and then go hide? Or would it have made more sense just to have Nevaeh and have it come out and then get attacked from behind to start off this match?
I think it all comes down to, I hate to give a thorough answer. It all depends on how you do it, and how it's done. So
did you think it worked well here as far as what they did?
I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was bad.
Let me jump in on this. I get it. The heels want to be in the ring beforehand, but neither of these teams are really baby. So even though the mauler is, but like, so if you're going to book it that way, it's more impressive to have King Kong come out at the end. You know what I mean? You build up to that. There's nothing more impressive than watching Havoc come out of those four. And like, you want that, oh shit, it's your ass feeling when somebody's in the ring. And then here comes what you got to fucking face, somebody who's 3 times your size. Doing it the other way with Havoc sitting in the ring going, come on, let's go, makes her smaller, because now these girls wouldn't want to just rush in to fucking go at King Kong if you had to fight him, right? Like, you're not going to. So
no, I guess my point was them just hiding, like coming out and then like hiding really quick back to the entrance. I found that to be
well, that's what you got to do as heels. You got to jumpstart it because you're out fucking gunned by this big beast, right? Like, dudes with spears back in the day who are hunting fucking elephants or whatever aren't just going to run right up and fucking, come on, you cocksucker. Ha! That's a good way to get stomped. You want to hide, funnel them into a fucking triangulated shooting thing, have 2 dudes with spears so you can get the first shots on them. Then you got a chance of taking down a big beast like that. This shit goes back to caveman times a little bit.
Right, no. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just disagreeing with where they hit. Like, I just didn't like that they immediately went right back out to the same area.
I get
the gorilla area. I know they're all in gorilla. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's just me being more because I obviously work with you guys on I know what you guys, and I've been backstage before the wrestling shows, so I get that. But like, I'm like, oh, okay. I know it's all connected. I don't know. Maybe they should have hid in the crowd or something, but they got the barricades up, so why not hide out there?
Whatever.
I don't know. Hide under the mats. I don't know, something. Anyway, well, did you have thoughts on this match itself, Ted? What did you think?
Well, I guess my question was, and I know these girls have been kind of going out for a while, but I felt like the match just happened. Like I feel like it was gearing towards a street fight eventually, but I felt like this was all of a sudden, oh, okay, now we're already at this level. Like I feel like we could have had a scene that led to, okay, that's it. Next week, you all are going to have a street fight because they are brawling or something happens. I always feel like there's usually more that can make the story be stretched out and thus more meaningful and easily for people to emotionally invest themselves in by that hook and drag kind of. So that was one of those things where I thought the match was fine. I just thought they could have got more out of it had they built up to it, because it was like, oh, these girls are feuding, and now all of a sudden it's a hardcore tag team match versus something happens and okay, that's it. Now we're going to have a hardcore tag team match because it has to happen. You know what I mean? Versus it just randomly is happening.
That's a good point. Well, after that, we get backstage, Gallus and Anderson telling Scott D'Amore that they want Fulton and Austin and that they're going to go to the ring until they get them or hear from them. I like this line here where Scott D'Amore says he was getting some real Hall and Nash vibes off these two.
Yeah, that's about the only line in this scene worth of shit. Like, I mean, whatever's even going on with Ace Austin is what, as far as they built him and Fulton, and they think that this is going to be the big push to put him with the Good Brothers. I think it's doing damage to Austin and Fulton, to be honest with you, bro. Like, this doesn't, the scene work, especially last week, trying to put last week's set him up by the cop scene next to the stuff that we've seen this week, bro, it's not even in the same fucking category of quality wise. And these are guys who just feel like they can get over off their WWE celeb, but when you shine a light on them that's average, like every other light is, and they don't have the spotlight to make them look that great, it's going to show and prove who's there for the fucking reason to make their career and who thinks they're made already and is mailing it in a little bit. And this whole segment was that, and in the in-ring was too.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I just want to see Ace Austin. It's like he almost goes down the path. Like, I love he keeps calling them the new guys, but I really want him to double down and make that be one of his driving things as a character is talking down to them and everyone else. Like, he's been around. He's a seasoned vet, and these guys are the new guys of the greenhorns. They might not know because they haven't been around like Ace Austin has. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's more of his heat, and like he'll play it up a little bit, but then not fully commit to that part of the bit. And I personally think that's where a lot of his heat can be, is continuing to play that up.
I got to answer this improv question, even though we're going long, from Fudge 420, who's here all the time. He says, noob question, I'm here to learn. Do you know the big feds use acting improv coaches, or they all just use wrestlers for teaching promos? It seems so short-sighted. If so, do they just expect everyone to come out of pocket to get their own coaches? Is it just because they're in their own bubble and don't respect the acting improv world? Not a lot of people even really know about professional improv and what it can do. To be honest with you, it's still a pretty well guarded secret from masters who would like to make money off it, but they're actors and they don't know how to be business people. That always gets transitioned into shows like Veep, Silicon Valley, Curb Your Enthusiasm, shows that change the world. And but they still don't apply improv in anything else, so they stay dumb to it. It really is an art that has to be trained and learned for 2 to 3 years minimum and performed. People like The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, a few others have gone out on their own to do some stuff. They haven't been fully trained. Aside from me, the only other person I would say that's a fully fledged improviser is Dolph Ziggler's little brother, who came through Improv Olympic and went through the whole thing. He kind of left before he had a big career there, but he's done plenty applying it later with his own movies, or working on a movie right now and sketches. Ryan Nemeth. And, aside from that, there really isn't. And Matt Bloom and them could take them to Yuck Yucks or whatever and do a one-day improv thing. that's not going to get them anywhere near they need to go. And Sarah Del Rey, Matt Bloom, whoever have no idea about long form improv or how to teach it or the tenets of it. So really until they would bring me in and I would set it up to bring in the improv masters I know using my Rolodex to start doing training every week. And that becomes a fundamental part of it. Then you're not going to get any performers, but then those you're not going to get any true improv performers until that happens for a year straight, at least minimum. And we'll get them there and they'll catch on to it. And then once that opens the door and other people see it who are against it, I've gone through this 3 times and they go, oh, look what they're doing. Aha, we better get on that. Well, they were kicking and screaming and didn't want to put it over in the beginning. It's an undeniable skill that runs almost everything. It takes comedy that you were used to and go, holy shit, I've never seen anything like Curb Your Enthusiasm before. And now we have it as a standard, but they don't know how to create that there. That's where we should be. We know the premise of the scene. We know our characters and how they would react. And we know where we got to go. Aside from that, we got to hit this 1 or 2 bullet points. Let's just go and play with it and see where we get out. But they are way too scared to empower any of their talent that way. Yeah, they just said that recently in WWE. After a few years and we feel that somebody's comfortable, we might give them a little freedom to do something. But aside from that, you're going to fucking do that shit with a Matt Hardy, come on, bro. You're going to feed lines to these guys in MVP when the natural stuff is 1,000 times better. Then you have cookie cutter performers like Seth Rollins saying coward in his promo and all this shit. And as soon as he says that, I'm done. I turn it off. Whatever you got to say after that means nothing because I know you're just parroting a 75-year-old man who has no idea about how people truly interact, talk, raise stakes in a scene. And that's where I'm at with it, man. And people hit me up while I was on the show. Lead writer position. I've known Hamin since the Chicago Improv Network boards and shit. I appreciate you all the love, man. But they know where the fuck I'm at. I'm not hard to find. I'm the one who can do it along with a few others that I've helped train, who I have supreme confidence in, who I'd put on my team. But until they want to make that move and cough up the $400,000, that's how we do it. We sit here at the Impact Attack.
All right, well, let's keep moving along. So we've been recording here for about 2 hours. Let's get to the next segment here. Suicide.
Flip.
Because I want to let Man Beast get to his job. He's got to get old ladies to squat. And
they probably wouldn't appreciate me showing up like Teddy Tedwards.
Exactly. So Suicide versus the Rascals was the next match that didn't happen as the Good Brothers come out and they interfere and take over the show, if you will, or try to. That they basically said that they were, going to be out there until Ace Austin and Madman come out, takes the mic after doing all that, after being behind bars, blah, blah, blah. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton Pier, they said that they aren't even in the same state, that they claim they'll see the new guys next week. So as you guys pointed out, you would have liked to seen more from this. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we move on to the main event?
Hell no.
Okay. So we go backstage. Rohit, just want to talk about this really quick. We go backstage. Rohit Raju is playing games with Chris Bay, saying they're just around the corner and he knows people that think TJP has Bay's number. Raju suggested he make a 3-way match so he and Bay can beat down TJP while Follow Boss sits outside looking dumb. Bay said that he had beaten Raju at Rebellion, so he doesn't need to worry about him, and said, let's do it. He agreed to the match. Of course, they didn't really make it clear when it was going to happen, but I like this. I like that Rohit Raju kind of got over in this and is kind of trying to finesse Chris Bay himself as well.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is going to lead, and I hope it does. I would love to see Raju be trying to play up Chris Bay into stealing the championship. I think that would be an interesting curve not curve. It seems like they potentially are going to go that way, but I would like to see it, one, because I think Raju's a phenomenal performer, and two, I think it's interesting, and I think certainly Raju and Chris Bay could tear it up with a series or a feud between the two.
Didn't you have any thoughts on this at all?
Yeah, I thought this put Raju in an underhand position, kind of begging, and I think he's better than that. But what Beast just laid out is, I think, where they're going, so it makes sense that would be part of his character before the turn to snake his way in. You know what I mean? So, anytime that this kid's going to get a push to where he's going to get a highlight and shine on him, I'm all about it, because he hasn't dropped the ball once in 2 years, and he's been a great fucking hand and done anything he's been asked to do at the height of it, whether it's stereotypical stuff, Desi hit squad stuff, breaking out to get guys over. 1 week he's a muscle jacked dude on the cell. The next week he's wearing, classic Indian garb. He's just a fucking solid dude to have on your roster, man.
And then after that, we did get a Brian Myers vignette. In this vignette, this first one, he actually takes off his masks and he says, "I'm the most professional wrestler." That was pretty good. I like that. Then we went to Wrestle House for the third segment. And this was
I'm the most professional wrestler.
I guess he's trying to play off the words professional wrestler.
What did he show you that made you think he was professional, besides saying he was professional?
He stuck around,
in this case,
stuck around and did ring crew after the show. I knew that, get him. Him and Heath Slater's kids picked up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, back at Wrestle House, Jake's cousin Jake, if you will, and Susie admitted that they enjoyed each other's company. Cousin Jake said that he had seen her at the Undead Zombie Bride, but this was the real her, and that he liked this. But then Sue Young creeped him out. They did the special effects and the dark voice, and saying, "This is the real her." And then Cousin Jake's like, "I got the runs, I gotta go." So he runs off. And then Alicia asks Susie what happened. Susie says that she doesn't know, but maybe her advice was bad. This offended Edwards, who called for Tommy Dreamer match time. Went to the ring now. As you mentioned, Crazy Steve was reffing. He did some funny stuff in here. At one point, they were both down, and he couldn't even count the proper. I couldn't count an order. 9, 5, 7. Grandma, 4.
I also liked at the beginning he couldn't call it down the middle because he can't see, so he's going to call it diagonally or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he said. I'm going to call it an angle. What happened? This match, if you will, was a short match. Susie slaps her in the face to start the match off. Steve breaks them up. Alicia charges her. Susie nails her with the forearm, and then Edwards comes back with a flying clothesline. And then Crazy Steve made some ridiculous calls until Susie scored the pinfall. So Susie was your ultimate winner in this match. And then they go. Then Taya said it was the first time for them to come back in and watch the greatest match in Knockouts history, and that was the night she won the title. But Kylie Ray says that she appreciated the group bonding mentality, but everyone is tired and wanted to go to bed. Taya disrespected her, and then Susie pointed out that Kylie was also the number one contender, and Taya said that anyone can be the number one contender. That she's the champion, and then Kylie gets in the ring and challenges Taya to a fight. And the Dreamer was about to declare match time, but Rosemary shushed him, and Taya said that she was super busy. She can do it next week. So we're going to get Kylie Ray versus Taya next week. Anything else you want to talk about Wrestle House before we get to the main event?
No, this was all good wrap up, especially with the runs thing at the end, and he used it as an outline, to get out of the scene. There's just a lot of good improv moves in this, man. I'm really impressed by it.
Ted, any thoughts?
I'd say I thought it was on point. It was improvement from last week's, which I thought was a step down from the first week, but this was a step back in the right direction. So I'm just hoping it will continue, but it was good stuff.
All right, well, let's get to the main event. So earlier in the night, they did an Impact Plus moment of the week. It was Eddie Edwards versus Cody, and they had Eddie Edwards beating Cody in that. So I like that. But then they had Eddie Edwards come out for his open challenge, and I'm starting to get the idea that they're mimicking AEW, that this is going to be their television championship, and you're going to have Moose as the champion. I mean, is Moose my champion now? Is this what I'm supposed to think? Because he's doing these open challenges every week now, and it feels like it's very reminiscent of what AEW is trying to do as well. Am I wrong here in thinking this, Ben?
Open challenge, whatever, that's fine. This is about Hawkins, right? In the most professional.
Yeah, so Eddie Edwards comes out. He basically calls out Eric Young, but and then Brian Myers makes it.
So we're about to expect one thing. It's the big swerve, and this is his debut, and we're gonna beat him on his debut, and we're not gonna leave him with any heat, and he's gonna call himself the professional. But meanwhile, he powders out of the ring with no fans in the audience and raises his arms out to the crowd. A professional wrestler who has a title shot versus the champ is going to want to make a name for himself and out wrestle the champ and stay in there and stay on him and not give him any air to breathe whatsoever and show that you're a great professional wrestler. Instead, he's stunting like his daddy, taking flip power bombs and kicking out on these stupid fucking falsies that mean nothing. So he's burying himself as being a professional. The professional's professional, because who's going to get a fucking flip power bomb in the middle of a match out of nothing on the best wrestler on the roster? That shows to me you're not the best wrestler on the roster. Even if you fucking kick out and think it makes you strong, it doesn't. It doesn't look, it means nothing. You've just buried things that could be finishers for other people for no reason whatsoever, for stupid Japanese wrong style. And for him to play into that, coming from a WWE guy who helped train with The Rock, who's been an Al Snow guy, who's gone through OVW, to not know that he needs to make himself in a certain way. This is where the Heath Slater make that you wanted him to be. Brian Myers needs that make. And he didn't even come close to it in this match. He could have made himself and made Eddie and slipped over and had a solid rematch. Instead, this was a weird combo, get your shit in, Indie Fest combined with WWE stunting style that didn't do nothing for nobody and was really the low light of this fucking whole Impact show, to be honest with you. It was the worst segment on the show, your main event, because everything else was so goddamn good. But then this, what could have been, and didn't deliver at all, and how to make this guy out of the gate. These 90-day guys, bro, these and guys we came up with have all failed pretty epically in their debuts at AEW and fucking Impact because of the writing on how to get them over in the situations. They have not protected themselves, and the office has not gotten them anywhere near for what they're paying for them.
Yeah. See, and I thought, before you jump into it, I was going to say, I thought they were going to put Brian Myers over, because during the match, Josh Matthews notes that the last time Brian Myers was there on his initial debut, he won the tag titles with Trevor Lee. So I was like, oh, okay, a little bit of foreshadowing that Brian Myers is going to repeat it again. And then for him not to win, or even why didn't Eric Young come out and interfere and attack Eric Young? And then, Brian Myers still goes over, Eddie Edwards still walks away with the championship, and you continue this Eric Young, Eddie Edwards feud. They didn't really even have that play out. What did you think, Dr. Ted?
Oh, you're right. And to that point, I mean, certainly there's things these guys could have done in the ring that maybe could have lessened the issues that Ben was talking about, or done better business. But from a writing standpoint, I felt like these guys, unfortunately, were kind of written into a corner. And I just don't think there was really a good, really solid way to do really good business here. Because, again, you have the guy from WWE who what he is best known for from the mainstream wrestling perspective is he was the guy that had the losing streak. So unless you were going to snap that and now he's something completely different, otherwise that's the guy that's how people know him as. And then you're going to have him go toe-to-toe with your champion, but still not be good enough to beat the champion. So he's not on this new level. And besides saying he's a professional, hasn't really shown me that he's a different kind of character or given me a reason to emotionally invest in him as a gimmick. So I felt like, just with everything, Eddie Edwards was not elevated because he beat a guy that everyone knows has been beaten by everybody. And then the guy that came in, Brian Myers, did not show us anything that he is anything else other than the guy that we last saw in WWE, except for he gets to wrestle a little bit longer than he used to.
All right. Well, Ben, do you have any final thoughts on Impact?
Phenomenal show. A phenomenal.
Said, as much as it's crazy how much that we pick it apart, because truly it actually was good. But I think part of it is just, we're just so passionate about wrestling. It's even better. So as good of a show as it is, it's a shame that they can't just, do those just little tweaks to make it supremely just the best show going today, which it already is, but to actually start to pick up some steam again and some momentum and start bringing Impact Wrestling back into the fold of, the international wrestling scene.
One more thing I forgot to actually bring up here, and I just got triggered because I'm going to read this feedback here, but we didn't talk about the Moose EC3 segment with the Moose is walking through the back. And
yeah, that was good. Pre-tape. I like it, but they fucked it up, because they had it like projected on the wall and Moose like stopped, and then they cut to the production version of it, dude. So if it's supposed to be some like laser trap that triggers a fucking, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope shit, like that's all we do. We stay with that. That's the interesting part. that he knew that some way he's in Moose's head to do that, to go to the production truck made it phony. So,
Okay.
But small things that might seem angry. The thing is, because we want the best for these guys, and this show could have been the impact of the year this year if they would have redid that whole main event and had a way to make Ryder or Hawkins, Meyers, whatever you want to call him, Major Brother, the right way, and give us stakes leading into something with him and Eddie that might go into a ladder match or something along those lines. We could have done something to set up where we're going, and they really just took another property and marginalized them there. And that's what, after we've built, and we see the summit, we just stop at a plateau, and that's a tough way to end your show. You know what I mean? So, but everything else, a lot of brilliance tonight, more than I've seen in wrestling in a decade.
So to wrap up the show here, of course, and the Impact Wrestling, I guess you might say conversation, we do have a little bit of feedback here in the Discord. I want to shout out this guy. His name is Sing the Ace. He says that he doesn't do any social media, but he's been listening to us for a couple years and decided to go ahead and make a Discord and jump in the conversation here.
So he says recently they've heard on Amazon Prime you can get a free Twitch membership to a channel. Maybe that info might help Hamin Media Group Twitch subscriptions up. So twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. If that is true, please let everybody you know that could get a free one, man. So we'd love to get those numbers up. Go ahead, Matt.
As well as you can go to twitch.tv/Hamin Media Group. We do have a Twitch account there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here in the Discord server, Sing the Ace, this was his feedback on Impact Wrestling. He said, good show. I thought Wrestle House was great again. The Baba-san line from Swinger was hella funny.
Oh, good.
The Iron Woman match should be interesting next week. The Moose EC3 segment he thought was cool. The Good Brothers promos are not hitting for some reason. But I did like the Rohit trying to finesse Bay too. So thank you, Sing the Ace, for your first ever interaction with Hamin Media Group. He says he's been listening to us for a couple years, doesn't do any of the social media, but created the Discord just so he could converse with us now. So thank you, Sing.
Phenomenal, man. Well, thank you for being a lurker and just still a supporter. We appreciate that. You're subscribing to everything. And if you can give us a 5-star Frog Splash or 5-star rating on iTunes, I appreciate that too. Helps us. All those little interactions, man. Beast and I have been reading a lot of blogs and all that. It's really you guys leaving a comment, thumbs upping, subscribing, sharing things that beats the algorithm for YouTube, Twitch, and really helps us grow the platform. So anytime you guys can do that, it's just going to really help expand. And as a free platform, those little ups every month, adding 40 subscribers, having 90 on YouTube, that really just makes all this more than possible because of those little things you guys are doing. So don't think that it's by the wayside. If you can, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was going to put it over the YouTube. We did have some YouTube numbers go up. We're now at 91 on the Hamin Media Group for just kind of really pushing it. So let's get to 100. I'll be 100 by the end of the day, guys. It's not that hard. Share it, let people know. But we're posting up clips there. I posted a clip of your guys' conversation with Rip Rogers, the full conversation on Kamala, which is up there right now, as well as on all of our social media outlets
too. Hearing how Kamala came to be with, how Jerry Lawler came up with the idea, and it's a good listen. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, definitely check that out, guys. Of course, shout out to our clip guys, Kaz and Plasha, who do some stuff. But as I've learned here working with Ben and Ted, if my guys can do it, then I'll jump in and I'll put the clip out as well, because we're all one team. And if our leader can stay up 18 hours a day and do 10 shows a week, then I can surely make some extra clips. Not only that, you can listen to the 2CW podcast that was on last night. I'm sure maybe Ben will put it up on our Hamin Media Group affiliate. Maybe
there now. You can. I
Nice.
rehacked it, put it back up there. Yeah, destroyed Chris Lovins. They even tried to do the live version, and Facebook tried to ban it, double hack back, and then I hacked them again. So it was a great night, destroying the dreams and hopes of 2CW morons in Central New York. Even though that I saw this stupid stooge in there, wrestling redneck, trying to put over 2CW. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to crush them too. They've got to fall some type of inside mold they've tried to send to Hamin Media Group. So we'll see exactly what's going on there. But Chris Lovins, I knocked the color right out of his beard last night. He had an old pathetic white beard looking like Father Time and just smashing down all their hopes and dreams. That's what we do.
Also, you can check out, I know you put it over on the Monday Locker Room probably already, but go check out the Barn Burner television podcast show from last week with Ted the Man Beast, Ben Hamin, and of course the HTM boys. I thought it was a really good podcast, just getting to hear more about Michael and Rick, just from a marketing standpoint, just kind of being more of just a relaxing conversation between you guys. So I thought I like those kind of podcasts. So go check that out. Of course, follow myself on Twitter and Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. Brand new episode of Suck My Balls is up right now on Hamin Media Group, Podbean, as well as on YouTube. So check that out. And Ted, do you have anything you want to put over before you go get old ladies to sweat?
Well, of course, you can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Ted the Man Beast, Facebook Ted McNailer. If you're needing any, obviously, if you're a wrestler looking for coaching, or if you have any business marketing needs, or if you have any rehab needs, you can also reach out to me for consultation at bookthedoctor@gmail.com. And of course, you can also catch me tomorrow on the Next Level Wrestling Review, where we'll be breaking down NXT and as well as breaking down the homework reports from everybody. So hopefully, if I can get the technology worked out on my end, we'll be live streaming from the Hamin Media Group YouTube page. If not tomorrow, then at the very least the following week. But I do plan from this point forward, starting with last week's episode, at least putting up the video versions post-produced after we do them. So you can either download them, of course, on Podbean, iTunes, wherever you download the podcast ad, or you can also watch the video version on the YouTube page for Hamin Media Group.
And before Ben takes us out, I just want to point one more thing out. Buckshot Kid, you said you like AEW. Send us your feedback. Light the Fuse HMG for the AEW review podcast that will be here live tomorrow after the Locker Room as well, for the declassified recording of the Locker Room right here on twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. Again, that's Light the Fuse HMG, gmail.com, or I'll read your feedback if you jump on the Discord server and leave your feedback there in the Light the Fuse section there as well. So 2 ways. I'll give you a second option if you want to get your feedback heard on the show. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Nothing to be sorry for. We wear a lot of hats here at Hamin Media Group, and the Impact Attack is one we always glad to strap on the hard hat for. We don't have to do the demolition that we've got on AEW Dynamite every week, where you really got to put your, safety gear on, because you never know what's going to blow up in your face over there. So it's the safety dance here with my boys, Dr. Ted and MSG Infidels. You know where to go, ProWrestlingTees.com/Ben Hamin. Subscribe to everything we're doing. Share it. Otherwise, I'm going to come over there and find you locked into your computer and start sharing everything you don't want, like your bank account numbers, your baby pictures where you were on a bearskin rug with your ass out, or that time you crapped your pants at a McDonald's and were crying. I'll let it all out, infidels, because there is only the Impact Attack here at hackerhamin.podbean.com. YOLO!